group as they head for Denmark.
Oh, it's been a tough few months for Wales. 4 defeats on the bounce and a couple of 5-1 hammerings in this Women's Nations League has led to tactics being questioned and criticism of the manager. But Gemma Granger arrives in Denmark tonight insisting she's unfazed by the outside noise. It's all about the bigger picture, she says, and the ultimate goal of reaching a first ever major tournament. Hello there. Some early football for you once again here on BBC Two Wales. It's basically because these two want to go out trick or treating and Nia's already got a costume on, ready and rearing to
I've already
go.
got enough fill-ins.
Lovely to see you both. Looking forward to this one, but we hope it's not going to be a fright night for Wales because real tough opponents once again. Denmark, 12th in the world, top of this Nations League group, and let's not forget what happened in Cardiff last month, a 5-1 hammering, Nia.
And it's exactly that. Actually, it's scary enough playing Denmark at the best of times, but actually when they're in such good form, 3 wins from 3, and Wales coming in off the back of 2 really heavy defeats, an aggregate score of 10-2 in the last 2 matches, it's again a really, really big ask for this Welsh group tonight.
Gemma Granger spoke during the week to the media about the criticism that's been aimed towards her and the team. A dose of realism and perspective needing. We're catching up as a nation. Has she got a fair point?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the harsh reality of playing against these top nations. We're in League A of the Nations League. Germany ranked 6th, Denmark ranked 12th. We have to put into perspective, these are the levels that we want to reach. At the moment, we're in that transition period where we're trying to balance that attack and defence. And when you play against these top teams, they will expose you if there are errors. And we have to remember the journey that we were on. We know there's things that we can work on. And these expectations we have, they have to be realistic. We've beaten the likes of Slovenia, Portugal, Scotland. So we know that we can compete and challenge. It's getting to that next level against these top teams.
Are we guilty then, as the media, some pundits, of concentrating too much on the scorelines and not on the performances on the pitch?
Yeah, of course we are, but it's opinions that make it entertaining, right? I do think we need to bring context back into it. If you actually look at the qualifying games that they've played under Granger, which is what she said, please judge me on those. They've played 12 and they've picked up points in 9 of them. They've won 7, they've drawn 2. And 2 of the 3 losses that they picked up in those 12 games came against France. So again, context is hugely important. It's a little bit like, you know, you start in year 7, you've been put in the top set of maths and we're criticising them for failing the first couple of tests. They want to be in Group A, they're learning on the job, like Jess Fishlock said this week. And yeah, let's not be that nation that jumps on the back of the manager and jumps on the back of the team, because as Welsh people and Welsh fans, we don't do that.
And Gemma Granger wants this Wales side to be known as an attacking team, but is it possibly to the detriment of their defence, something that Wales have always prided themselves on?
I think it's something that we've said that they definitely need to build on in order to compete and challenge and get them over that line. But it's finding that balance. And when you're playing against the likes of Germany and Denmark, if you don't keep the ball well, they will punish you. They have players who will pounce on you and they know how to find the back of the net. So it's finding that balance, it's playing in the right areas and just being a little bit less naive at times.
And Denmark, at home, a dangerous beast?
Really dangerous beast. I think we'll talk a little bit about Pernille Harder a little bit later on. Huge boost that their captain isn't involved tonight because she is still causing nightmares for this Welsh team again, I think. But huge, huge ask. I think especially from a confidence perspective, coming off the back of a tough away game in Germany, how are these players now going to bounce back emotionally as well as physically to face another beast tonight, as you said?
Well, let's head to Denmark next then, because this afternoon's game is being played in Viborg, and out there for us, our reporter Alex Richards.
Good evening from the Viborg Arena in Denmark. Well, it's been a damp and very cold day here today. Not the most ideal conditions for the visitors, Wales, who are desperately seeking a full 90-minute performance. They're going to have to do that tonight against a Denmark side who are brimming with confidence. 3 back-to-back wins for the hosts in the Nations League. Now, last time these two sides met in the Cardiff City Stadium in September, Denmark cruised to a 5-1 victory. Wales are most certainly going to be hoping there's no repeat horror show here tonight. A blow for Denmark, who are without their leading goal scorer and star striker Pernille Harder for tonight's match. The Bayern Munich forward, who scored a hat-trick against Wales in their 5-1 win in Cardiff, is out with a knee injury. Still plenty of quality in this Denmark side though. Amelie Vangsgaard of Paris Saint-Germain will be one to watch. She found the back of the net twice against top seeds Germany in the Danes' opening match of the campaign. Surprisingly, it looks like Gemma Granger might have gone with a change in formation for Wales. It's a rare start for Josie Green, who comes into the starting 11 for this match. Two other changes Granger has been forced to make is replacements for injured duo Hannah Kane and Kerry Holland. They both picked up injuries in that Germany defeat on Friday night, with Holland leaving the ground on crutches. In their place comes Bristol City's Carrie Jones and Ffion Morgan. Well, I caught up with Wales manager Gemma Granger earlier on today, and here's what she had to say. Gemma, looking at the team news, are we right in thinking you've gone with a change in formation tonight? What's the thinking behind tonight's starting 11?
Yeah, so we obviously had the injuries coming into this game. So in terms of being adaptable, we wanted to make sure we got a real strong game plan tonight. We have flexibility within any formation we play, so you'll see that tonight. You'll see us delivering a real clear plan of how we think we can get success in this game, and we want to be better in this game than we were in the last game against Denmark.
How disappointed are you for Hannah Kane and Kerry Holland missing out on tonight's match?
Yeah, very disappointed. You know, as a team, we want to have all of our players available, fit and available. But the adaptability and strength of this team is how we stick together, and you'll see that tonight also.
Coming off the back of two really tough results in this Nations League, is this the most challenging time of your Wales career to date?
Yeah, it's the most challenging, but it's the most exciting. I've said it before, I don't want to play in League B, I want to play in League A, I want us to qualify for a Euros. So in terms of where we are today, the challenge is exactly what we want.
Gemma, best of luck tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Doc.
Well, joining me pitch side now is former Wales manager and captain Jane Ludlow. Jane, we know tonight's match is going to be another difficult test for this Wales side. How much pressure is Gemma Granger under at the moment, and how much do you sympathise with her?
Well, look, if you're leading any national team, you're going to be under pressure. Gemma knows that, and she'll thrive on those things. It's why she's in the position she is. But at the end of the day, the last two results have been challenging ones for her. And what I do hope today is that scoreline is a little bit different.
Gemma's position as manager has come up against a lot of scrutiny. Do you think the calls for her to be replaced are unwarranted?
Look, you're talking to a coach developer and a coach. I will never back thought processes like that. I don't think it's necessary, no. I think, at the end of the day, we're in a position right now, we're learning. And we're hoping to get to the next tournament. And we have a good few months to do those things. And tonight is another opportunity for us to learn. But what we do want to see as fans is development from the last game. And I'm sure we will see that.
Yeah, what do you hope to see different from this Wales team tonight? What do you hope that they have learnt from those three previous fixtures?
Well, I think, people have been talking about the scorelines, obviously, and the goals that are going against us. Previously to that, it was all about our in-possession game and can we score? But at the end of the day, we've got to have a platform to go forwards and score those goals. And defensively, we have to be a little bit more solid. So I'm sure that's been the focus. I'm sure they've looked at how the goals have gone in the last game against Germany. I'm sure they've worked on some key areas, particularly defending wide areas and obviously defending their own box.
Well, Jane, I'll let you get off up to commentary and get out of this freezing cold weather. Thanks very much.
Yeah, interesting stuff from Jane Ludlow there. And Gemma Granger seemed to have her game face on there as well. Let's pick up on the changes then, because there are three, but those injuries to Kerry Holland and Hannah Kane, how much of a blow are they to Wales and the way they play?
Yeah, I think it's a huge blow because they're two players who completely emptied the tank on Friday. Their work rate there, their energy, and they'll run through a brick wall for Wales. But losing Kane and Holland is an opportunity for other players to come in. So Ffion Morgan, Carrie Jones, they're players who want to get beyond the pitch. It's an opportunity for them to show Gemma Granger what they're about. And they'll bring a different element to the team.
Yeah, are they different players?
Yes, they are. They're younger, they're fearless. They haven't had as much international exposure or experience, but actually what an opportunity for them tonight. They're players as well who can really unlock a defence, so they're going to be super disciplined and organised tonight, Denmark. That's their foundation. So they're players who can actually go by somebody and actually start delivering some balls into the box. I think what's frustrating for us is I feel like those niggles to Kane and Holland were probably avoidable. They ran their socks off the other night against Germany, and Holland picked up a calf injury, and Kane, just coming back off a knee injury, has jarred it again. So I think, actually, can Granger look back and think, actually, could I have saved their legs a little bit sooner on in the game?
Yeah, what do you make of Gemma Granger's use of the bench? Because we've mentioned it before in the past, and I'm just thinking Mary McAteer, the 19-year-old who came on at the end of Friday's game, the right player to bring on at the right time?
Maybe that was something they'd already planned, taking her away with the squad, give her that exposure against, a top nation, and what a fantastic moment for her, is one she'll really remember. But we haven't really seen the bench be utilised, and like Nia said, could that situation with Kane and Holland be managed a bit better. I think that game really needed legs, and I think the bench could have been utilised a bit more.
And I think, you know, I don't want it to become boring that we keep asking to see more of the bench. It was totally different the other night against Germany. Usually we're asking for Ffion Morgan, we're asking for Megan Wynne to come on and make an offensive change. Actually, the other night, it looked to me they needed some defensive legs. They've got Charlie Escott, they've got Josie Green, Anna Philby on the bench. Could they have gone on, tag-teamed and just emptied the tank for the last few? And who knows, we might not have leaked those last 2 or 3 goals against Germany.
Well, let's have a little look at the defence then, because it was the same issue, wasn't it, in most of those goals, that far post exposed.
Yeah, and time again, we keep saying they need to defend wide areas better, stop the crosses and actually defend their 6-yard box. But actually, again, it comes from a 2-on-1, an overload. Poor Rhiannon Roberts. Kaylee Green hasn't tracked back. Sophie Ingle hasn't gone with the runner, which drags the centre-back, Hayley Ladd, Manchester United defender, really experienced, but she's dragged out into wide areas, which ultimately means her centre-back partner, Gemma Evans, is left in the middle on her own with another full-back at the back. Lily Woodham, wrong decision. You can't be dribbling out your own half. If you've been given a pass under pressure, put it in Rosette, drop your ego, just whack it in there. Again, they're all out of sorts. Look at the shape of the back line here. Again, poor Rhiannon Roberts at the back. She's being targeted by not just 2 this time. It's 3 big German strikers hungry for a goal.
And I think when you're sitting in this, medium block, can the midfielders do better in screening that ball into the strikers? Because there is too easy. She gets her head up, she can get the ball into the box. Again, Sophie Ingle, is she affecting the game there? Gemma Evans is covering the front post, but it's a 2-on-1 again at the back post.
We've spoken about this. I played centre-back. Katie played much better than me at centre midfield. I don't want to be running out into channels, into wide areas. But if I have to, which Hayley Ladd often does, to cover her full-back, Katie, as the centre midfielder, has to be filling in for me, and those 2 things aren't really happening.
It gave Germany so many opportunities on the night, didn't it? 35 attempts at goal. So Olivia Clark, in that number 1 jersey, was very, very busy and a shining light for Wales in that goal. Yeah,
well, a fantastic opportunity for her. She's really making that number 1 position her own. Great technician. We've seen, every goalkeeper has to be brave, but she seemed to make the right decisions at the right time.
It's really exciting. She's 22 years of age, just been recalled off a short loan spell with Watford. She's back in the Women's Super League now with Bristol City, so she'll be exposed to some of the best players and the best strikers of a ball week in, week out now, which only is really, really exciting for Wales.
And we'll hear a bit more from Olivia Clark during half-time. But another who's spoken this week about the long-term ambition for Wales and the need for patience is Wales's most capped player, Jess Fishlock. Now, the 36-year-old also revealed she knows exactly when she'll hang up those international boots of hers.
Both games, really, Denmark and Germany game, have been good for us in certain aspects. We're learning whilst playing the best teams in the world. But I think for us, we know that this is a process, and I do believe that we're learning. I really do believe that we just have to find a way to learn faster.
Holland, 1-1!
So that's 2 goals now we've scored against top opposition, which we haven't done for a long, long time. And so there's little things like that we really have to kind of hold on to and grab, and they're little snippets of what we have in this group. We just have to use these games to put a 90-minute together. The wedding is in Wales, obviously. I have to try and organise everything from being over in America. And it's tough, but honestly, it's a nice thing for me to switch off from football and organise my makeup, organise my hair. But it is hard because as much as I want to get excited for it, I've still got to play against Denmark and Germany, and we're in semi-finals for the rain, and so it's still got to stay super focused. I know my timeline. I know there's a dead end, no doubt about that in my mind whatsoever, and I'm excited for it. Being truthfully honest with you now, I'm really, really excited for this to end. But because I know that, I am so more committed, and my drive to get to where I want us to get to is at an all-time high. And I love it, I love this group. And so the end is near, I'll tell you that, but I'm still so committed to what we're trying to achieve.
She's just so cool, isn't she, Jess Fishlock, when you hear her speak. And it's interesting, Gemma Granger says, when you have a happy Jess Fishlock off the pitch, you have a very good Jess Fishlock on the pitch. She travels so much, she must be exhausted, but she's obviously hungry. Do you think it's that drive to make it to her first major tournament that's keeping her going right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is her main focus. I just love her honesty and how real she is, because that's what this group needs. And she definitely would have been one of those players telling the team, we can't dwell on this now, we have to move forward. But Jess has been there through the whole journey. She's been there with completely different struggles that we faced with as players, to now being in this position as a professional player, you know, playing all over the world and the highest accolades. But she is someone who will want to get this group to a major tournament. And until she gets this team over the line, I think, you know, we haven't seen the back of her yet.
And she still gives 100%. That goal for Kerry Holland on Friday, she was instrumental.
Yes, she really was, and she was the one that actually scored that brilliant strike at home as a small consolation when they played Denmark in the reverse fixture. I really love here how she recognises that they're a bit narrow. Actually, when it bumps back out, you spot it, you see her here, spot the space. She's the one that actually recognises spatial awareness, years of experience. She gets herself out there. And then just this is what Wales have been lacking time and time again, just a little bit of creativity, a little bit of composure in the final third. It's something we've been critical of them not doing against some of the lower ranked teams. So the fact that they can do it against Germany, in Germany, as Granger loved to remind us, I love the fact that there was 4 Welsh shirts attacking the box there, and well done Kerry Holland, being in the right place at the right time.
And as you said, Wales' first goal against Germany, something that will go down in history. Right then, let's go back to Denmark, shall we, and get some insight into tonight's opponents. Alex has some company.
Yeah, alongside me now, pitchside, is DR Sporten commentator Henrik Linniger. Henrik, thank you very much for joining us. This Denmark team, 3 wins on the bounce in this Nations League, the perfect start to this campaign. They're a side absolutely brimming with confidence at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, because actually the World Cup was, you can say, adequate, but nothing that people were cheering about. And then these 3 matches have been very, very good, especially the first 2 matches against Germany and Wales. And it was a bit more like work-wise on the win on Iceland, but altogether 3 matches, 3 wins, that's more than we could have expected.
And a noticeable absentee for tonight's match, Pernille Harder. How big of a miss is she going to be for the Denmark team tonight?
It is a big blow, because in the 2 matches against Wales, where she scored 3 goals, and against Germany, she played so fantastically well. She is a world-class player, and she is the star player of the team. So it is a blow for the team, and they cannot make a one-to-one replacement. They have to do something else tactically to avoid the damage of her not being there. So it is a blow for them, but we did see on Iceland that things could work without Harder, and I suppose it will tonight as well.
And what is the expectation for this Danish team against this Wales side tonight? Will they be going out looking for another statement win?
First of all, they'll be looking for a win, but if you really ask, I think they will be hoping for like a big win, because in the end, it can be on the goal-scoring difference between Denmark and Germany who's going to try to qualify for the Olympics. So the win is, of course, the most important thing for Denmark. But if the chances show, with all respect for Wales, that it could be a win of like 3 or 4 goals, I think they will not stop chasing goals if they have the opportunity, because in the end, they can be very useful.
Well, Henrik, thank you very much for talking to us tonight. Enjoy the match.
Thank you.
It's a scary prospect on Halloween night, isn't it, if Denmark are going for a big win. But the positive for Wales, Harder, she won't be there. She had a field day in Cardiff, 3 goals, a hat-trick for her. It must be something that Gemma Granger will take some comfort from.
Huge boost. It would have been a lot harder if she was playing.
Oh,
you've dying to get it in. No, she is a world-class player. Was once the world's most expensive female footballer when she signed for Chelsea a couple of years ago. So Sophie Ingle will know her well. As you said, she was so instrumental when they played the reverse fixture in Cardiff. She can bring others into play. She plays between the lines as that tricky number 10. Does the midfielder drop in and cover her? Does the centre-back step out? So the fact that she's not in there is huge tonight for Wales. A huge, huge boost, because she's such an instrumental leader. 147 caps, 74 goals. So massive boost for Wales.
But, and it's a big but, they've got a 6-footer, Vangsgaard, also there. She's the top joint goal scorer for Denmark in this competition, so there's danger everywhere still.
Yeah, we know these top nations, they have quality all over the field, but Vangsgaard, she is a typical number 9. She'll really try and stretch the play, but she'll also sometimes look like that false number 9, drop in, pick the ball up and start the attack from deep. but she's physical, she's athletic, she has pace, and she knows how to find the back of the net. And with the frailties we've seen in the back four, we'll have to do better with her this evening.
Let's go back to Wales then, because Josie Green may be a bit surprised to see her name on that team sheet. What does it tell us about the way Wales are going to target this game and maybe the shape they're going to play with?
I think it's really interesting. I think she deserves a call-up. I would have liked to have seen her play some part against Germany. She's a combative midfielder, disciplined in her role, more of a holding player who will really help protect, actually, that Welsh back four, who, as we've said, have looked a little bit more frail than what we're used to seeing. In the graphic shown, it's actually showing her as a wide right. I'd be really surprised if she plays in that front line. I'm not sure if maybe they'll go for a midfield diamond, actually really protect those central areas, and then that will really allow her to cover a centre-back if, similar to the clips we saw earlier, Hayley Ladd or Gemma Evans have to go wandering to cover their teammates.
Listening to Gemma Granger talk earlier, it's obvious that they're trying to target the issues that were there on Friday night. They want to be seen to be doing something about the problems that we saw.
Yeah, ultimately it's getting better each game, isn't it? It's learning from those mistakes, and this team, they want to be better. They know this is tough right now. We're playing against tough opposition. Like Jess said, they're learning as they're playing. They have to be better. They know that they can correct these errors. We have the quality to do it. For some reason, we're lacking a little bit of confidence. This is another opportunity to put all those wrongs right, and I'm sure we're going to see a real spirited performance this evening.
Is that the key? A spirited performance, real determination and progress in every game?
Yeah, and you know what? I've never watched this Welsh team and questioned their commitment, their effort, their energy levels. That's never been the case. For me, the reason they've been under scrutiny the last two games, of course, is the scoreline. They've conceded 10 goals in 2 games, but actually it's the basic defensive responsibilities of tracking runners, defending your box, stopping the crosses, that they really need to nail tonight.
And you've mentioned, Katie, during the week, the need for stopping crosses, tracking players. Is that what you want to see tonight?
Yeah, we need to do better in our defensive third. We have to stop crosses. I think we've gone away a little bit from our roles and responsibilities. And again, it's something that can be put right.
Well, look, the teams are out, so let's see how Wales respond then. Your commentary team, former Wales manager Jane Ludlow, who's with Simon Davis.
Catherine, thank you very much indeed. Well, consecutive 5-1 defeats has been a reminder of the calibre of opponents that Wales are facing in this UEFA Nations League competition. Nevertheless, Gemma Granger will not want to be on the end of another heavy loss here in Viborg this evening. But this will be another huge test for Gemma Granger's Wales. The thoughts of Jane Ludlow, Gemma Granger's predecessor, coming up after a presentation here. It is Katrien Weyer, one of the more experienced players who recently reached her 150th cap. The Everton player has been a linchpin in this Danish side, and here she is presenting Nadia Nadim, another experienced player with her recent accolade as well. Nadim not in the team, and we will go through those lineups in due course after the national anthems.
Og nu er vi klar til nationalmelodierne for Wales og Danmark, og husk, at det er rigtig god stil at vise respekt for modstandernes nationalmelodi, og så naturligvis give fuld gas på, der er et lykkeligt land. Men inden vi når så langt, så skal vi altså først have den walisiske nationalmelodi. Please rise for the 2 national anthems, starting with the anthem of Wales. til deres ærlige land, så kære publikum, giv dem alt, hvad I har.
Denmark are top of Group A3 in the Women's Nations League with a 100% record so far in this competition. The most recent victory coming against Iceland. And there are a couple of changes to the Danish side that narrowly beat Iceland last Friday. Josephine Hasbo and Nadia Nadim, who you saw receive a presentation earlier for winning 100 caps. Well, they are on the bench this evening. Denmark, without key players such as Sophie Young and Simone Boy, means that starting places for Sophie Bredgaard and Sanna Cholsgaard, the later who actually scored against Wales last month. Sandra Bastos is tonight's referee, leading a team of all Portuguese match officials. Well, changes in personnel tonight for Gemma Granger and for Wales. Maybe a change in formation as well. That is how the UEFA broadcasters see it, although where Josie Green on that right-hand side will play is anyone's guess. She gets a rare starting place from Leicester City, of course, and there are 3 changes from the Germany defeat. Kerry Holland and Hannah Kane both picked up injuries. Kaylee Green misses out. Carrie Jones returns to the starting 11, as does Fionn Morgan, her Bristol City teammate, who has really impressed off the bench in recent games. Well, we wait to see how Gemma Granger lines up her team, Jane Ludlow. One thing is for certain, Sophie Ingle wearing the captain's armband as ever. The spine of the team picks itself, but we wait to see where the new personnel, the new changes to this team fit into the 11.
Yeah, look, I'm really keen to see what formation we go with tonight, and obviously how high we press as well. I think it's important the girls start well. We are coming up against a Denmark team that obviously have had some great results, and they have some interesting things they do that cause teams problems, and now Gemma's going to know that, having played them once, so it'll be interesting to see if we set up differently to the last time we played them.
We were watching the warm-up with keen interest, and whether that means a back 5 or a back 4, Gemma Granger wouldn't give too much away earlier on to us, so we wait to see what sort of formation that Wales will set up with. There is a team spirit within this Welsh camp. There have been some critics who have criticised results, and the 2 5-1 defeats certainly have raised eyebrows. Just feel that if the performance is there tonight, the result maybe can follow.
Yeah, and that's what the team are talking about. You know, the team and the manager are talking about performance, and hopefully we'll see some elements of in possession and out of possession, some great play tonight. Hey, we might even get a worldie again, like against Germany, you never know.
It was a special goal. Well, is it a night to silence critics? Wales have something to prove after 2 bruising defeats against Germany and Denmark, but take nothing away from the quality of the opposition that Gemma Granger's side have had to face, Jane.
Look, it was always going to be a tough test. We're in the A-League, and that's fantastic, and that's because we've had some great results over the last couple of years, but obviously we want to stay there. It does help us going forwards if we're playing against the top nations more frequently. As has been said many times over the last couple of weeks, they're learning opportunities, but look, as fans, we want to see the learning on the pitch tonight.
First throw for Denmark, Torgersen. It's a high ball up towards Bredgaard. Plays for Rosenborg in Sweden. Certainly a lot of youth in this Danish team. They are missing some key players, but there's also a fair bit of experience as well. Someone like Sanne Troelsgaard, who actually scored against Wales last month, sort of personifies that. Gemma Granger has never been one to go for a full defensive approach, but having conceded 10 in the last 2 games, you do wonder if that is the right way to go tonight.
Well, look, we're obviously a few minutes into the game now, but what I'm seeing already is what looks like a back 5 from Wales. And if we go along the line there, we've obviously got Woodham on the left-hand side playing as a wing-back. We've got Gemma Evans just inside her as the left centre-back. We've got Hayley Ladd as the central centre-back. Rhiannon Roberts on the right side.
Vansgaard's onside here. Flagger stayed down. And it's a good hand from Clark. Immediately Denmark on the offensive. Alex Vangsgaard, who scored against Iceland, who gets her first shot away.
Yeah, we're just seeing on the replay here, obviously, a ball in the half space, which Hayley Ladd hasn't managed to track very well. And luckily for us, obviously, the runners into the box from Denmark are a little bit delayed there.
Well, is that a sign of things to come for Wales tonight? It's Svava with a corner. Troelsgaard, Vangsgaard, many of the real threats in this Danish team inside the penalty area. Not a bad delivery towards that back post and towards Balesaga. Via in towards Cole. A few step-overs from Cole. And the delivery not there in the end. You are right, Jane. It is a back 5, it seems, tonight, with what seems Rhiannon Roberts pushing in.
Yeah, and the one thing that is a little bit unusual is Josie Green playing as a wing-back over on the right-hand side. We know Lily Woodham can do that. She's done that previously. But Josie Green's a little bit of a new area for her, but I'm sure there's lots of reasons why she'll be able to do that, and I'm sure we'll see a good performance from her tonight.
Olivia Clark, who won a fair bit of praise for her performance against Germany. It was a tough night for a goalkeeper, conceding 5, but it would have been much more had it not been for her performance. Here is Balesaga. Obeys and Via. Denmark reached the round of 16 in the recent World Cup, losing out to Australia, the co-hosts in Sydney. There was a feeling in the Danish press that they maybe underachieved somewhat and that they could have gone further, but there's definite talent in this Danish team.
Well, they've started this competition in a way that may be the case because they want to prove a point to people.
Ball won by O'Hara James. Cole looking for the front runner of Bredgaard. You saw the Swedish coach there of Denmark. He's Andre Hjelgerts, 51 years of age, 6 years in charge of the Finnish national team as well. There's a wealth of international experience. It's a compact ground here in Viborg. Not to mention a cold night as well, Jane.
Well, I'm so thankful there's blankets, I'll be honest. I do like the warmth.
Provided by the host broadcasters, I hasten to add. I'm sure the BBC would have if we'd asked, but yeah, a cold night. And I just wonder what constitutes a good result for Wales tonight. There has been criticism of the recent games where they have leaked goals, but after all, this is a game against one of the top opponents in European football.
It is, and we'd all love to think that our national team can compete on this stage regularly, but it's still very early days. You know, we're 18 months into that project of coming up against the top teams more often, and obviously there's things we'll learn every single game. At the end of the day, we've come into this game, we've changed organisation, tactically we've changed things, and we've acknowledged actually some things didn't work. And that's what you want from your coaching group. At the end of the day, see the problems, change them. If your solutions don't work, find another solution. And what we're seeing from Wales tonight is a 5-2-3 organisation. You can just see Fionn Morgan pressing on the right-hand side and then Sophie Ingle joining her. And they're obviously... they're trying to protect central areas because Denmark, if we watch Denmark in possession, they do some interesting things and they cause top teams problems when they're in possession. Not just teams like ourselves who are lower 20 ranked in the world. They cause problems to top 10 teams with their animation in possession.
Ingle to Fishlock and Carrie Jones back in the starting 11. It's rare to see her out of the team for the game out in Sinsheim against Germany. Here's Josie Green. And Kaylee Green, of course, on the bench tonight. And another change for Wales. Here is Jones. Good tackle from Obeys. Good crowd inside the stadium in Viborg tonight, and they are expecting goals. Torgerson. Here's Guile. Up against Woodham. Torgerson continues her run. Goal kick.
Just an example there of the threat that Denmark do have when they're in possession, particularly when they manage to switch the ball from one side of the pitch to the other, and the spaces that opened up in midfield at that point. We're just seeing here, obviously, them building on the right-hand side. They create a 2v1 in the one wide area, but thankfully the first touch here is not a great one.
An early injury concern for Denmark here. Isabella Obeys. Well, she went into that tackle with Carrie Jones. They took a slight knock, or worse still, a muscle pull. But you can see on that right ankle of hers receiving treatment. Of course, Wales have their own injury concerns, and it's a real blow, wasn't it, to be without Kerry Holland and Hannah Kane for this game.
Yeah, because look, any coach, the ideal thing for any coach is you have your full squad available to pick from. And unfortunately, that's not the case tonight. But as always, it's an opportunity for the girls who do get a start that might not have had that recently. It's an opportunity to show everybody what they can do.
Obeys being walked off the pitch here. Whether that means she'll be back on remains to be seen. It could be an early change for Denmark if not. It does seem to be in some discomfort. So Denmark temporarily down to 10 women. And it's Olivia Clark from the restart. Olivia Clark, who established herself now as the #1 choice for Gemma Granger between the sticks. And was certainly busy against Germany. The one thing that Wales could perhaps take heart from as well is that it was a narrow win against Iceland for Denmark. I don't think many people saw that coming. And a suggestion that Wales can compete tonight.
No, and Iceland did create quite a few chances, having watched that game myself. Obviously, Denmark created chances and they missed quite a few, to be fair. But Iceland did create too, so I'm sure there'll be opportunities for us tonight in front of the goal.
Interception from Ingle, and Obeys, who's back on the pitch, playing it to Balenciaga. Cole. Probably a little step over from Guile. Gemma Evans stepping forward. Give the ball away. And that gives an opportunity to Vangsgaard. Wales have got to be careful not to be too sloppy. Perhaps guilty of that at times in the previous game.
The one thing a central back three does, obviously, if it falls into a back five with the wing backs dropping in, but the central three centre backs, it allows them to be very aggressive. If balls come in and beat the midfield, they can stick to people. They can be aggressive and be tight, and hopefully stop the threat going in behind them.
Given away by Josie Green. A big clearance from Rhiannon Roberts, who can play centrally. I think you played her there on a few occasions, Jane.
Yeah, to be fair, Rhiannon has probably played as a centre-back for the majority of her career, far more than a full-back, but we did obviously enjoy performances, great performances from her as a full-back over the last 6-7 years for Wales.
Denmark seem to have a threat on this right-hand side. It's Torgerson, and back by Cole.
The trend we're seeing already in the game is one of the things Denmark are renowned for, and their age groups are exactly the same, is their transition to defend moments. So as soon as they lose a ball, they're back on it. They want to win it back immediately, and they have a really good work ethic and organisation as a team to be able to do that. So what Wales do have to do when they pinch tonight is move that ball on quickly, because they're going to get pressed early.
Carrie Jones, challenged by Balenciaga and Cole. Guile. Back to Obeys. Was the one notable absentee that we haven't mentioned yet is one Pernille Harder. I think we were all a bit relieved. Of course, we don't want to see injuries to players, but her knee injury for Bayern a few weeks ago was certainly, I wouldn't say welcomed by Wales, but they weren't too disappointed about it, I'd imagine. Gemma Granger.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you're talking about one of the best players in the world right now and has been for a good few years at the top level. So the fact that she's not on the pitch tonight is obviously a blessing for us as a Welsh fan and a Welsh team.
Free kick to Denmark. A high line from Wales. It's a near post delivery, and Hayley Ladd with the clearance away. Here is Via. Jess Fishlock just calling for a bit more support quickly in the counter-attack there. She did have Ffion Morgan to her right-hand side.
Yeah, one of the things we did pick up in one of the games recently was just the speed of getting their backline out, and sometimes it's caused us a little bit of a problem, so you can see why Jess is encouraging them to get up when balls are going away from her own box.
Torgerson. Culler's full of tricks, but Evans on her, the Manchester United player. Denmark ranked 12th in the world compared to Wales's 29th position. Wales currently bottom of Group A3, but do have a key game against Iceland. You feel that is a key game coming up, but the result here would certainly be welcome, even if it's just a point, just to get something on the board in this Nations League campaign.
Yeah, if we could get a point tonight, I think it'd be a fantastic result, and obviously build the girls now for the last 2 games. They'll be coming up in December, because they are important games, in particular, as you've mentioned, the Iceland game, because it could come down to that last Iceland game to see if we stay in this league or not, and obviously we'd all like us to be able to do that.
Torgerson of Inter Milan. Here is Ladd. Olivia Clark under pressure here from Cole. Took her time, but has shown composure when called upon. Olivia Clark. Fishlock. And James back to Evans. It's possession-based game that Gemma Granger wants to encourage.
Well, we are being far more direct tonight, Simon. Well, from a goal kick earlier, the first goal kick we've had, we've gone direct.
Here's Ffion Morgan. Clearly the Danes are concerned about her pace. That was a ball through the middle from Fishlock.
And the one thing Ffion Morgan does have is lots of pace, so she is going to be a threat. If you can get those balls right on her counter-attack moment tonight, she is going to be one heck of a threat. And we saw it for many years in the age groups. I remember one fantastic goal she scored out in one of the Eastern European countries, under 17s, halfway line, bang. But she's got an amazing talent, but it's just, can she actually get the opportunities tonight?
Well, she's impressed off the bench. I think as an impact player, she's shown the qualities that can really benefit Gemma Granger's team. Denmark on the front foot, though. Out to Zvava. And a heavy pass from Cole.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it might have been offside, but I don't think they've pulled it up for that, have they? The throw-in is actually taking place instead.
And the Welsh throw will be taken by Josie Green. Carrie Jones just powered off the ball there. And that's a free kick to Denmark. It's a rough tackle from Josie Green. I think she can have too many complaints.
No, it's a free kick, isn't it?
Another player, very versatile. I know that you called upon her in many positions, Jane. And
yeah, well, look, out and out, she's a central midfielder, but can definitely play in the back line and has done a good job previously.
That's a decent delivery towards that back post. Trollsgaard. Well, it was an awkward volley to take on as she tried to pull it back into the Welsh box.
Well, we can see we've got our zonal set up here. We've got a lot of bodies dropping in at the same time, but we haven't managed to pick up the far runner. And to be honest, on the first point of the delivery, I thought it was overhit, but it wasn't. It was a good delivery, wasn't it, to the furthest player there? But thankfully, it was a bit of a shinner and not a very good contact.
Won't be seeing too many of those tonight, I suspect, but Fischlock, who was such a key player in that wonderful goal out in Germany, the real plus point of what was a difficult night overall. We got 1-1 at half-time. We were all hoping for the best, but just a sign of what Wales can do. And you know these girls so well. It was the core of this team, very much was the core of your team as well, Jane. And there is talent and quality there.
Yeah, and it's a squad of players that have been together a heck of a long time. They've had ups and downs, more ups than downs over the last 7, 8 years, to be fair. But now we are playing in a different league. And I'm sure every one of those on the pitch right now are enjoying the opportunity to do so. And they want to show what they can do. They know deep down this is where they want to be. They want to get to a tournament final. So if they do get there, they want to be able to compete with teams like this. So we do have to take the learnings of the games that have gone so far and the learnings that are still to come.
Fischlock, good first touch. Could release Josie Green on the right-hand side through Roberts here, but safety first back to Clark. Carrie Jones in a more central position. Different sort of forward to Kaylee Green when she plays in that position, of course.
Yeah, completely different type of player. You know, Carrie is very much a good technician, really good awareness in possession, but doesn't necessarily have the strength and the physicality of Kaylee Green out of possession. So it'll be a different type of defensive front person tonight for us.
Long ball for Evans. Easy one for Denmark to deal with Via. Everton player. Used to play with Christian Eriksen as a youngster. And this 153rd cap overall. Incredible servant for Danish football. Red touch here for Christensen, the goalkeeper. And here's Obeys. Via has spotted the runner Zvava here. And an important touch that from Rhiannon Roberts. Interesting that Denmark not afraid to mix things up with more direct passes as well as their ability on the deck.
Yeah, and what you end up seeing from Denmark when they're in possession is what looks like a front four. You know, they fall into a back three organisation. They push their right full back really high, and they end up with the front four coming against you. So there's one heck of a threat, and our midfield have to be aware of obviously screening balls into that front four to help the back line tonight.
Bredegard, nice back heel to fool Lily Woodham. It's been very tight and very compact. Gemma Grange will be happy with this opening 20. There's been a high press as well. Via. Feel Morgan tracking back. Well, there's quite an atmosphere in Viborg tonight. Totally different to what was experienced in Germany, but it's one of these compact grounds. Players can really feel that the fans are on them. Could be an overlap here for Denmark if they look at the top of our screen. Instead, it's down the right. Torgerson trying to set up Bredegard and Gemma Evans there.
But the difference defensively for us tonight is when they're sliding those balls into the half space, just inside from the wide area, we've got an extra person there in the back line and we're clearing those threats up.
Kull. Balesaga. Via. Going to switch the play over the head of Woodham, her header away. Bredegard. Nicely into Trollsgaard. Had that volley that just went wide.
Yeah, she's a threat, isn't she, Trollsgaard?
Torgerson, not a bad ball. And an important touch in many ways to put off Vangsgaard on that back post. I think Josie Green just did enough, didn't she? It was Rhiannon Roberts.
It looks like she slips just as the ball comes over. And as you've said, she's probably put it off, to be fair.
You mentioned Trollsgaard there, Vangsgaard, who scored against Iceland. You know, even without Harder, there are players that can be such a threat to Olivia Clark's goal.
Yeah, the two players in central midfield tonight so far, Trollsgaard and Krul, are having a bit too much time on the ball. I'm hoping the Wales midfield can get a little bit more pressure on those because they are dictating play a lot.
Josie Green, tackled by Guile of North Carolina Courage. And it's back with Christiansen of Rosenborg. Really found herself as the established Danish goalkeeper after having a chance, really because of the COVID outbreak. Because there were so many COVID absentees back in 2020, she got the chance against Italy and has kept her place in the team ever since. One ball for Evans to deal with. The pressure here from Torgerson. And the right choice from the centre-back.
But we're dealing with those threats in behind very well for the majority of the first 20 minutes tonight, which is good to see.
New experience for Gemma Evans and Hayley Ladd in this Wales team, playing in a 3. And that's Evans going sliding in and Roberts completing the clearance.
But that's a good example of how by playing as a 3, they can be far more aggressive. And you saw Gemma stick to the player dropping off her then and being physical and managing to pinch the ball.
Ingle. Linking up with Fishlock. And Carrie Jones the target here. Well, that's one thing that Wales have. Pace up front. Theo Morgan in particular, we've talked about. I just feel that on the counter-attack, if they can get one of those through balls through to her, that could be a real weapon for Wales. Meanwhile, here go Denmark. Talk about weapons and danger. It's in towards Bredgaard, caught under her feet, and she slaps the ground in frustration. But what a move that was from Zvava down the left.
And obviously, a little bit of time and space for them to use on the left-hand side, and you can see the ball through the splits, the back line for Wales, and a drive centrally here, but fortunately for Wales, she hasn't managed to make contact very well, Bredgaard there.
She knows that that was a chance. Woodham up towards Jones. Free kick Wales. Foul by Trollsgaard of Reading. Owns her own fitness company. And by her own admission, addicted to exercise, she says. She's won 183 caps, which is tremendous total. Free kick here, Woodham to take. And Wales really committing players forward here, Jane.
Yeah, let's hope we can win first contact as well.
It's a high defensive line from Denmark. Woodham's delivery just didn't get past the first player. Wasn't the best of deliveries, in all truth, but here's Ladd. And that is a beautiful pass over towards Theo Morgan. 1-2 with Green. Morgan's cross over the head of Jones, and for the first time, Wales get into the Danish penalty area.
There's some good combination play over on the right-hand side. Good awareness from Hayley Ladd here to play over to Fionn Morgan. She obviously bounces it back inside, gets the return pass, but you know, there's 2 in the box against 3 in the goalkeeper, and just detail of the final ball.
Of course, the Nations League, a new competition. Sort of replaced what would have been standard friendlies when you were in charge of Wales, Jane, and I think it has brought that competitive edge out.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to both. In some ways, you can go, well, picking your own opponents.
Vangsgaard's free, and Evans racing to try and get back here. Ladd just did enough, back out to Vangsgaard, and away by Green. Well, Denmark down this right-hand side have been very, very dangerous, and here they go again. Torgerson up against Woodham. Cole. Monet on a weaker left foot, so opts for Via. Cross towards that back post. Guile was outstretched, and it went beyond her.
Well, obviously you can see the white shirts there and the amount of players we have in the box defending that area, but I'd like us to see us go and press that ball a little bit earlier when he goes out to the corner of the box. They're danger areas. We can't give players 2, 3, 4 seconds to pick their head up and deliver, because obviously that delivery wasn't that great, but can't give them opportunities like that too frequently tonight.
And you were saying about the pros and cons, really, of the Nations League.
There's pros to picking your own opposition, because once you know who your competitors are, you can pick a team who play similarly. So it gives you a 90-minute game where you can prep your organisation as a team thinking about the next team, if that makes sense. When it comes to Nations League, it's a case of go out and compete, and it's going to be very different game plans each game.
And ultimately, how Wales perform in the Nations League can have a great effect on how they can qualify, as we dearly hope they will, for the European Championships, which next take place in Switzerland. If they remain in Group A, then they would be guaranteed at least a playoff position to try and qualify for that tournament. That is far in the distance. It's all about the here and now for Gemma Granger, but
it's important, isn't it? Because you go into that qualifying campaign with a slightly different mindset than knowing that you have that comfort zone of getting into a playoff position.
Lily Woodham. Trying to find Fia Morgan of Bristol City. Goes back to Hayley Ladd. Sophie Ingle of Chelsea. Difficult one for Roberts to deal with. And it sets up Zvava. Bredgaard. And it's a header, and it's a goal. And it's Vangsgaard. The trajectory of the ball was, from Bredgaard, a wicked one. And Clark was well beaten in the Welsh goal there.
She was, and on first look, I wasn't sure whether it was an own goal, to be honest, Simon, but we'll see the replay now to confirm that. I think, going back on what I said a couple of minutes ago, pressure once the ball is getting nearer the box. I'd like Wales to get a bit more pressure on those players once they get in nearer the danger zone. And we see here, look, it's a delayed press coming out. Could we be more aggressive to then prevent the danger pass going in? Yes, we can defend the box a little bit better here, and we can pick up players rather than holding a space. Because for players of this quality, it's a free header within the 6-yard box. It's a disappointing one for Wales.
Well, Vangsgaard really had to adjust her body to get power on that header, and in that sense did well. But again, we're talking about defensive disappointments for Wales. Here is Fishlock. It's a free kick. What can Wales do with this one? Well, there have been warning signs. There have been a number of decent balls into that Welsh box.
Yeah, there's
prior
been
to the goal.
2 or 3 deliveries where we've gone, ooh, you know, final detail wasn't great, thankfully, for Wales, but we're allowing them the opportunity to get the cross into the box, and I think that is definitely something they'll look to change as the game goes on, or we need to try and change.
Lily Woodham and Cara James standing over this one. Can Wales respond immediately? Towards that back post, and Roberts, Evans there too. Here's Green. James. Woodham. Towards Fishlock. Via with the important touch.
You could see on the free kick, we were trying to hit the overload on the far side, just we needed the ball to go a few more yards to be able to hit the 2 big players at the far post. Just a little bit of detail right now.
Back to Olivia Clark. Well, it is 1-0, and take nothing away from Vangsgaard. We know she's got quality. I think you'll pointed out just how free she was inside that penalty area, and that will disappoint Gemma Granger.
Yeah, it'll disappoint her because she'll watch the, you know, they would have watched the Iceland game from last week, and she scored a cracker of a goal there, and she was unmarked going into the 6-yard box, and unfortunately it's happened again tonight against us.
What a saga. To an opposite number, Gemma Evans, the Wales number 3. Jones. It's a fine balance, isn't it, between wanting to play an expansive game, and you'll know this during your time as Wales manager, Jane, but there are some occasions where you've got to be so defensively disciplined.
Well, look, as a head coach, you're constantly looking at your strength areas and the areas maybe you want to protect, and the opposite with the opposition. You're looking for areas you can exploit, and each game is going to be very different in respect to the type of opponents you're coming up against and what threats they're going to throw at you. But very much at the end of the day, you have to play to your players' strengths, but recognise obviously areas on the pitch and things that have happened in the recent games that we can be better at. And obviously Gemma Granger's made some changes tonight to try and solve those areas.
Ball back with Christensen. Winning her 29th cap. Via to the base.
Yeah, so if you look at Denmark in possession right now, they look like a back three, and you can see 15 here, the right full-back, very high, playing as a winger. And what it does, it overloads the midfield. And they look like they've got 4 players in midfield. And when we played the home game against Denmark, it caused us a heck of a lot of problems. Okay, now it's not causing us the same type of problems against a different shape tonight. But the threat is coming from a slightly different area tonight, to be fair.
Olivia Clark to take this free kick. He's had spells at Coventry, or going to Bristol City, and then at Watford. And he's looking for Fishlock here. Sorry, Jay.
No, I was just going to say, a very young player that we managed to pick up in trials very, very many years ago, thankfully. She was a great talent that we picked up that people weren't aware of, and for us, it was a fantastic find.
Absolutely, and sometimes as a Wales manager, I think you've got to be creative as well.
Gosh, we were very creative. Very creative. And it was always happy days when you managed to find talent like that, when you're not necessarily expecting to find the talent on those days.
And examples of that, of course, Hannah Kane, who was in the English system, but always felt that she would eventually play for Wales. So it's always looking to the future and looking at these young players. Another free kick for either Woodham or James. It's Woodham's delivery towards Roberts.
To be fair,
a few of the players there were glancing at the referee whether Vangsgaard handled it here. We didn't have the best view of that, but here's the replay.
Delivery was a bit more lofted this time, wasn't it? And it does bounce up, you know. And
it was Trollsgaard from Vangsgaard's clearance. I think that would have been harsh.
I'd still have asked for it if I was down on the touchline.
Oh, that fourth official would have had any bashing.
I'd still smiled, though.
It's still 1-0, and that's the positive thing for Wales. I think we would like to have seen a few more threatening moves down the other end, down that Danish penalty area. And you've always got to be wary of these sorts of players. It's Torgerson again on the march with Bredgaard to her right, up against Woodham. Really do break forward quickly, Denmark. Here's Kull. Happy just to check their runs and keep possession once again.
Yeah, and I think Wales are obviously making the decision tonight predominantly to press from the halfway line backwards. Okay, we're going a little bit higher now because it's a throw-in situation. We're in open play. We're using the halfway line as our pressing line. But what I would like to see from Wales is to be a little bit more aggressive on that first press so that the rest of the team can react to it, and we could potentially pinch the ball back a little bit earlier when it's coming into our own half.
Trollsgaard. obeys. She looks up here at the bottom of her screen. Denmark have players on the overlap. Good play from Woodham, trying to find Jones. Kull. Torgerson. Real interesting battle between Torgerson and Woodham on this Danish right.
Yeah, and Denmark are looking to exploit this right-hand side, aren't they, predominantly? They're getting combination plays out here because they have numbers there. At times we're doing well to defend the area. At times, you know, we could be a little bit stronger there.
Lily Woodham of Reading. A career which has seen her play for London Bees, Coventry, Birmingham. Has really come into her own as a left-back. She seems to be the one that Gemma Granger goes with. We've seen Rachel Rowe play in that position, of course, various others, but Woodham seems to be Gemma Granger's choice at the moment. There is Trollsgaard. Christensen up to Via, under pressure from Morgan.
You see Wales here, we're trying to get a press higher up the pitch, aren't we? But we're ending up having to drop around the halfway line by the time we get pressure on it. We see Carrie Jones here trying to instigate that first press and keep play on one side, but we're not quite managing to do that.
For Wales, the key fixture, I suppose, is Iceland on December the 1st. And Germany as well, then in Swansea on the 5th. Overlapping play here with Zvava free on the Denmark left. Cuts in field, still Zvava. Thea Morgan helping out the defence. To Guile. James is giving it away. Couldn't afford to do that. Still with Guile. Bredgaard, 2-0. A simple mistake has led to Denmark's second goal. You cannot afford to make those sorts of errors.
Simon, I was just, as the play was happening, I was just thinking, well done, Haz. You've tracked that runner really well into the box, managed to get hold of it. It's just a simple error. And unfortunately, when you play the top teams, they punish you when those errors happen, especially that close to the goal.
Well, the initial interception from Anhara James seemed to have done the job, but it was her second touch which gifted Denmark.
And it's pressure again, isn't it? It's that transition from Denmark. As soon as they lose it, they want to win it back, and then they're effective when they are back in possession. It's a great strike, by the way. Not that I want to admire it too much, because at the end of the day, as a Welsh team, we need to get in that person's face who's receiving in the box there. We haven't done it, but do you know what? She's finished this really well. If you're a goalkeeper in the sticks there, you haven't got much chance. Even if you've spring, and I know Liv Clark has spring, she still would have struggled to get a hand on that.
Andre Jelgerts leading the applause, the Danish coach, and Bredgaard with her second goal for Denmark in her career. First in the Nations League, and it's 2-0. And again, in a late stage of a half, Wales have conceded at a really poor time.
Well, if you go back to where the builds come from, that wide area again, and I just think, you know, that there's times where we can be a little bit more aggressive. Our timing of our press can be better in the wide area that can prevent those balls getting into the box in the first place. It's very easy when we're sitting up here watching.
Yeah, it's a different game, isn't it, when you're an armchair pundit, but I mean, there are those that will say, well, it was always on the Iceland game anyway, but just individual errors like that, I think, can be cut out. And that's on the training pitch. You can iron out those sorts of instances, can't you?
Yeah, you can. It's about player relationships as well, and obviously game understanding from players and their roles and responsibilities, and then committing fully to those.
Zvava is onside here against Josie Green. Green's done well to stay with her, but Zvava just found a bit of room in towards Vangsgaard.
She's hovering there as a threat whenever a delivery comes in, Vangsgaard.
Look at that vision from Fishlock, though. Here's Morgan. What can Wales do here? Can they get back in this game? Still Morgan trying to find Jones.
Do you know, there was a moment there, if she could have just held the ball up. Now, granted, there were 5 players around her, so it might have been difficult. If she could have held it up, you could see Lily Woodham trying to catch her, but she was a good 15, 20 metres behind her, just to give her the support.
Wales don't want to concede again at the end of a half. Of course, in the instance of Germany, they managed to get back at 1-1 into half-time. It was an entirely different team talk for Gemma Granger, but we all know what happened in the second half. Here's Fishlock. Well, she thought about it, even though the decision actually went Denmark's way. What viewers didn't see in their screen there was the keeper off the line. I suspected Fishlock was going for that, but it was a free kick. Courtesy of Rhiannon Roberts. Cull. James with the tackle, and the attack is on. Fishlock to her right. Ball to Morgan. Woodham. Falls to James. Ingle wants the shots. Just didn't have the room to do it.
No, and they didn't have the room to do it because look how quickly those red shirts got back. And as soon as there's one near the box, there's at least 2 red shirts in the face of that player to stop them playing.
Evans's cross is fallen to Fishlock. Worth the shots. Roof of the net.
I thought it was a deflection. It's not, is it? No, unfortunately for Wales. Jessie. Oh, she has an opportunity here, mind, doesn't she, to set herself and get that strike on target. It wasn't far off. We're talking inches. Brings it down well onto her stronger right foot, and she just gets under it a bit, doesn't she, rather than drives through it.
Well, did score against Denmark, and what a goal that was in Cardiff as well. Fascinated to hear that interview with Jess Fishlock at the start of the programme. Has as much enthusiasm now as she did when you remembered a young player coming into the camp, maybe even more so.
Even when Jess is in her armchair, when she's like 80 years of age, she's going to have that enthusiasm for the game.
Torgerson. Oh, that is a good cross in towards the penalty area, and Clark under pressure there from Vangsgaard.
It was a good take. Just see the threat here on the right-hand side again, and the full-back, just getting those few inches in front of the defender, but Liv Clark deals with that very well.
Trollsgaard's header met by Roberts. Denmark, one of the leading European nations, runners-up in Euro 2017, you may remember, losing out to the Netherlands, the hosts on that occasion. Is Vava looking for guile on that near post, away by Fishlock. And from both wings, we've seen the best of Denmark at times tonight.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's probably because of how Wales is set up. They're protecting the central areas very well, and they had to because Denmark make use of those areas on the pitch, and they have done against other teams, including, you know, the stronger teams. So we're defending those central areas as a priority tonight, but what it's doing is opening up that wide area, so our wing-backs and our ball-side centre-back have had quite a lot to deal with.
Balesaga obeys. There's the finish there from Bredgaard. How she enjoyed that one. Only a second goal for her country. Minutes of added time.
1 minute.
And an important team talk for Gemma Granger. To give 2-0, it's not an insurmountable lead to overcome.
No, it's not. Obviously, when we get moments like this and we get a bit of possession on the ball, it's important that we use it well. It's not necessarily going to happen too often.
Morgan has done really well. Just power to shield the ball from Cole. This is a great run from Vangsgaard. Clark has stayed on her line. It's Vangsgaard! Well, Clark got an important touch in the end. And it was a tight angle, but a beautifully timed run from the Danish forward.
It was a well-timed run. You'd hope that our centre-backs would have picked it up a little bit earlier, but Liv gets at angles, Liv Clark gets at angles well here, and obviously gets down very quickly as well to be able to push that away.
And there's still time for a Danish corner. We're over the minute of added time. The referee's going to allow this one. Troelsgaard on that back post. And Wales get the decision. I suspect that will be half-time. Yes, it is. And Wales, once again, staring defeat in the face in the Nations League. 2 goals from Denmark, from Vanguard and Bredgaard. Both good finishes, but defensively for Wales, Gemma Granger will be disappointed. They have it all to do. It's half-time, and it's Denmark 2, Wales 0.
So 2 well-worked goals from Denmark in that first half. It's deja vu, really, from the reverse fixture in Cardiff last month. Wales have adapted. They have an extra body in the back, but defensive errors once again creeping into Wales's game, giving the hosts a comfortable half-time lead. Yeah, Wales have it all to do at half-time, but Katie, as I said, as expected, Denmark have dominated possession, 70%, and they've come out with a point to prove.
Yeah, you know, this is the type of quality that Wales are up against. I think the first 20 minutes we dealt with their threat really well. I think that the 5 at the back is really helping us. We look more compact, more confident. We're able to commit players to go and win those balls. But again, you have to give the opposition, you know, they're able to break us down. They're quality players, so there are things that we can still work on.
They are a top side. So, with that in mind, will Wales be disappointed? Will Gemma Granger be in that changing room thinking, what do I do?
I think, actually, credit to the change. I think it's courageous for her to change the shape at this stage. We've not seen her go with a back 5 in her reign, not that I can remember anyway. And actually, like Katie said, it's really suiting them. It's a little bit like a Jane Ludlow-esque performance where actually they're just trying to be really compact. It's allowing the centre-backs as well to really step up, be aggressive if one of the strikers drops in, because they know there's that extra cover behind, and that's where they've looked really, really vulnerable. But I think credit to Denmark. There's 2 really well-worked goals, but they are definitely avoidable.
We'll have a look at the goals in a moment, but let's concentrate then on the shape. We were wondering, weren't we, before the match, how it was going to work. Talk us through it, Katie.
Yeah, so when you're playing a back 5, you have those central areas, you know, they're really compact. And like Nia said, when you commit a centre-back to step out and win the ball, you know there's cover in behind you. Again, you know, beats the first player, but Gemma Evans, she's able to step in, break up the play, and there's cover behind you. You always have that cover, and you can recover.
It's a little bit like an insurance policy. Before the kick-off, we actually spoke about the fact that Hayley Ladd was getting dragged out of central areas to cover. So was Gemma Evans. We've seen a couple of occasions there that even though it's a bit scrappy and they actually end losing the ball, they're not leaving acres of space in behind like they were in the previous 2 matches, which is why I think the scoreline is as low as it is at the minute.
Let's talk about the first goal then, Vangsgaard. We highlighted her, didn't we? Ahead of the match, she's such a danger in that box, especially on a header, but defensive errors leading up to this goal.
Yeah, it's just failure to clear the ball. Sophie Ingles, such a brilliant technician, usually actually misses the contact. Same for Rhiannon Roberts, usually so solid. Chance to clear it. And over here, Torgertsen is actually the number 15. You can see her on her way there. The number 15. She's a full-back, and that's why Lily Woodham, I think, is a little bit hesitant to close this ball down. But there is still a 3-on-2 advantage to Wales here. I think Gemma Evans is the free centre-back. She probably calls for it, expects to win this. She's usually so good in the air. And then the striker, Vangsgaard, we spoke about it before the game, just gets the run across Rhiannon Roberts. And it's a really clever header, isn't it? Really intelligent to get just a back ponytail on it, if you like. And unfortunately, 1-0 to Denmark.
You mentioned that until that point, it was a real Jane Ludlow performance, very defensive as well, and it was working so well for them.
Yeah, and that build-up to the second goal, we actually just said, you know, Wales are in a great shape. They've got great numbers behind the ball, but it's a defensive error, it's an individual error by Angharad James to let the team back in, and it's a fantastic finish in the end. You know, you can see here, good numbers behind the ball. She's tracked the player really well. She actually wins the ball back. And, you know, similar to the first goal, it's an opportunity here to clear the ball. No nonsense defending, clear the ball, relieve the pressure. We like to play football, and sometimes you have to choose when the right times are, and you give players like this time in the box, their quality, they will punish you.
And what you get with the back five as well is obviously you have one less outlet further up the field. So usually in past performances, we'd have probably had a Kerry Holland to hit or a Hannah Kane to hit, who are hugging those touch lines, who've got pace, who can run in behind. Actually, we've got players now a lot deeper in the pitch. So a little bit like we spoke about before the game, sometimes when you're playing tough teams away from home, you have to drop your ego and hit the ball into Rose Ed like I used to.
Being too harsh on yourself there, I'm sure you are.
It's Halloween.
Right then, let's look at, well, Wales haven't had many chances, have they? But they've grown into the game slightly in a few moments before half-time. They have had some opportunities.
Yeah, and actually Gemma Evans is a brilliant footballer, so in this shape as well, it affords her to be in these areas where she can use her brilliant wand of a left foot. Fantastic that Jess Fishlock is in the position she is, and actually you do expect her to hit the target there. But what I have liked about what Wales have tried to do, and Jane Ludlow touched upon it in commentary, is press a little bit higher up the pitch. And when they've done that, they've actually won it back early, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to show courage and energy to help support Fionn Morgan up top with Carrie Jones.
Well, you two can take a breather for a few moments because we're going to head to Denmark and get some reaction with Alex.
Well, Jane has run down from commentary to join me again pitchside. Jane, what do you make of that first 45 minutes? Has that change in formation worked for Wales, do you think?
Well, yeah, look, as you mentioned, there is a change of shape, so we are changing things. We're acknowledging some areas aren't working very well. We've changed our shape. We've got a back five in there. And there are elements, you know, you come up against a team like Denmark, they're really strong in central areas of the pitch. So Gemma Granger knows that. They've prepped to stop the balls going through the central areas. And it's worked to a certain extent, but what it's done is obviously it's opened up the wide areas. And we've seen some crosses and deliveries coming in from those areas that have caused us quite a bit of problems.
What do you want to see more of from Wales in that second half?
Well, now it's about how do we nullify that threat? So how do we stop those balls coming in, those crosses that are very dangerous? They've got some great target players in the box, and what we don't want is some free headers in that area. So a couple of things for me: be a bit more aggressive in the press, in the wide areas as the ball gets nearer the box, and obviously be a bit more dominant in the box defensively as well. Pick up players and deal with those players.
Yeah, hopefully Wales can find a way to get back into this game in the second half. Jane, thanks very much.
There we are. That's how Jane Ludlow sees things. Because it's Halloween, I've got a little joke for you. What position does a ghost play in football?
Tell us, please.
Goalkeeper, which takes us nicely. There's a link here, girls, don't look at me like that, to Olivia Clark, who had a stormer in goal for Wales on Friday night. She's also been bossing it in the WSL for Bristol City, having made her debut in the last few weeks. You like that one?
Wow. I've always wanted to do this.
You now find yourself as the #1 choice goalkeeper for Wales. Are you pinching yourself a little bit?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal at the minute. I think everything's gone 100 miles per hour, but I'm just trying to enjoy it all and take it all in. Only 5 years ago I was playing like Tier 7 football, so to come from there to be here now and play against Germany and Denmark this week is just incredible. Coming from a small town, I never played for like a big academy, a big football club, so I've really had to like work my way here. And I was actually used to be a striker, so when I used to play for Lincoln, the goalkeeper was just ill one day, so I went in goal. And then my goalkeeper coach at the time, Steve Harris, was like, "You're actually quite good in goal, why don't you try it?" So I actually played down an age group just to try and be in goal for a year, did quite well, and then yeah, it just went from there really.
And you haven't looked back since?
No, definitely not, it was a good decision.
A very special moment for you. You made your debut in the Women's Super League. Just talk us through that.
Yeah, it was a great experience, like walking out next to great players like Alessia Russo. It was just kind of a pinch me moment, but also I had to tell myself I was good enough to be there.
Very competent goalkeeping by Olivia Clark.
It's pretty surreal to now be here, be fully professional, not have to worry about working another job to pay for things. But yeah, I've just tried not to put too much pressure on myself. It's easier said than done, but at the end of the day, it's a game of football and I'm just happy to be playing, and if I do well, even better. The Nations League is such a good opportunity for us to show how good we are against the top nations, and we're always the underdogs, which I quite like. Results might not go our way, but if performances do, it'll put us in good stead for the qualifiers coming up. And then at the end of the day, these are great experiences for me, and I'm just, yeah, trying to pinch myself and enjoy it.
such an interesting history because she saw an advert on Twitter, X of course now, for the under-17s, and she went for a trial and very quickly she was playing with the seniors. How much do you think her game has developed and how important is it now to be playing in the WSL, taking her opportunity there?
Oh, it's massive because especially as goalkeepers, it's so different training day in, day out, taking shots off your goalkeeping coach to actually walking out and having to play Arsenal against, like she said, players like Alessia Russo, European champions. It's so, so different. And I've just been so impressed with what looks like amazing composure. I think they're a very unique group, the Goalkeeping Union, and I hope that that transition from Laura O'Sullivan, who's been a wonderful servant for Wales, 59 caps, has been dealt with sensitively, and I'm sure she is right behind this young kid as well and is helping her through all the experiences that she can bring to the squad as well. But I think it's hugely exciting that she's now in a professional environment at only 22. Who knows, she could be around this group for the next 15 years.
And she's being exposed at the moment, isn't she, to really top strikers, being faced by them every time she's playing on the international stage.
Yeah, I think, you know, the fact that she started in Tier 7 of women's football and she's shown that perseverance to get to where she is, now have a professional contract. And like Nia said, it's a very special DNA to be a goalkeeper, and you usually see big characters, but she seems very calm and collect. And I think, you know, she's done fantastic to slot in. And big pressure, you know, goalkeepers, they can be under, you know, intense scrutiny, but she's been dealing with it really well.
And you compare it to the men's side, of course we do, because that is what we're aspiring to get to. And, you know, goalkeepers start at 5 or 6, they've got their gloves on and they stay in that position. And even her, she said she started off as a striker. We're still seeing goalkeeping coaches actually still developing. A lot of them are unique and settled on that position at a really, really young age. And that's something that we can look forward to happening.
Well, look, we have got some top talent on display this evening. Also some top talent in the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year shortlist. There's 5 names in there in all, and here's a little look at them all.
This past year has been incredible.
Spain won the Women's World Cup, beating the Lionesses 1-0 in Sydney.
I had the possibility to win the Champions League and also the World Cup in the same year, winning the second Champions League with Barca. It has been so special.
Privileged to have so many standout moments. Obviously, World Cup finalist, winning FIFA Best. FA Cup final as well, on the Ballon d'Or shortlist, which is obviously just incredible.
Oh, that's absolutely outstanding.
It's not really a position that's really sought after because of, I don't know, maybe the criticism it gets, or it's not really on billboards. And yeah, I feel obviously really strongly about challenging that narrative.
Even without stepping on the pitch, walking out at a home World Cup, not many people in their career get to do that.
Australia reached the semi-finals for the first time, and what drama for them too in Brisbane. They knocked out France on penalties, which went the distance. Courtney Vine with the kick that sent the Brisbane Stadium wild with delight.
To come out in the semi-final of a World Cup and score that goal, and you've got Millie Bright in front of you and Mary Earps in goal, and that's Sam Kerr, and I think that's what makes her brilliant.
I'm not the one aiming to be at the top or becoming top scorer, but indeed it was a great feeling for me to play as a striker quite often last season. Of course, the title at the end, the cup final, of course, so to say, holding my baby again in my arms. Being runner-up in the league is success too, one has to say. So I was very, very satisfied with last season.
Bin ich sehr, sehr zufrieden mit der Saison bisher gewesen.
For me as a defender, it's not that often I'm scoring goals, so yeah, it was maybe my most important goals.
Fridolina Roth has scored the winner against her former side to wrap up the match in Barcelona's favour.
I think I've developed a lot since I came here. Coaches around me that helps me every day, like putting in those small details to help me to improve as a player. So yeah, from the beginning I was not a defender. I still feel that I'm still improving a lot in training.
There we are, the shortlist for the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year. You've got a few days left to vote. All the details on the BBC Sport website. But we've got a minute left to talk about Wales 2 goals down against Denmark. Let's look at the positives for Wales. Is it Josie Green just slotting in nicely into this 11?
Well, I think we would have been quick enough to criticise that decision. I think it was a big call. She's usually a centre midfielder, so to fill in against Denmark at right back in a new shape, I think she deserves huge credit. They haven't really threatened down that side. It's actually been on the other side where Denmark have got in a couple of times. I still think they need to deal with Thorgerson, actually, that full-back number 15. She's bombing forward, looks threatening.
And for you, Katie?
I think, you know, the shape. Now, I know we have conceded 2, but it's much better, and that's what we need to be, better than what we were against Germany. I'm sure Gemma Granger would like to tighten that up at half-time, but I think that's a real positive change.
They have sat back, Wales. They've had to defend. Do you expect them to be more attacking now in this second half because they need to get a goal if they are to get anything from this game?
Yeah, I think that'll be a focus. The clean sheet would have been an incentive before the game, and unfortunately that has gone. They'll still want to do damage limitation from the perspective that they've conceded 10 in the last 2 fixtures. But actually, I think, like Katie said, it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you've committed one of those players back into the back line. But I still think when they're in possession, they've got good enough footballers on the pitch to be creating a little bit more.
2-0 down. It's a difficult question. But what is a good result for Gemma Granger this evening?
Anything better than the scoreline against Germany. But I think the performance is already more positive. If we can nick a goal on that counter-attack, which, you know, is a feature that we may have to use when we play against higher-ranked teams, I think that's something that they will look to work on.
OK, then, let's go back then to Denmark and prepare ourselves for this second half and join Jane and Simon.
Thank you, Kat. It's not quite a mountain to climb, but certainly a big hill for Gemma Granger's Wales. 2-0. But there was a bit of positivity there from Katie Sherwood and Nia Jones, and indeed from Jane Ludlow alongside me. I think there are positives to take so far, but our Wales would like to threaten a little bit more to that goal at our right-hand side as we look at the screen.
Yes, I think we'd all like Wales to just keep hold of the ball a little bit longer when we do manage to regain possession.
It was Fia Morgan putting pressure on. The goalkeeper, Christensen, no changes for either side for this second half. 2 decent goals as well. The second in particular was a good finish, but I think, as we were saying at half-time, defensively Gemma Granger will have been disappointed. I do wonder what was said in that changing room at half-time. Kind of know what a Jane Ludlow team talk would have been at half-time.
Lots of love, lots of love. Love and positivity. Because, look, I'm very much somebody who knows what these players are capable of. And when you look at the first half, we've leaked some goals because of some details about defending in our box and picking players up and marking them effectively. And obviously stopping the cross in the first place. If we can add another layer to that and keep the ball a little bit better when we pinch it, like these moments, then even better.
Carrie Jones, who was quiet in that first half, winning the throw for Wales. The boot of Guile, her sliding tackle. And for North Carolina Courage, Millie Guile. Here is Troelsgaard. This reverse pass in towards Vangsgaard. And here's Svava, who saw a lot of the ball on the Danish left in the first half. And it's another teasing cross early in the second half. Olivia Clark out to collect.
Difficult one to deal with there for Liv Clark because of the bounce, and she delays her movement but eventually does come up and obviously deals with her very well in the end. But again, it's a cross into the box, isn't it? An unopposed cross into the box.
When you have an effective left-sided player, an effective right-sided player, putting those in-swinging crosses in, it can be a nightmare for defenders, can't it?
And the one thing the Danish girls do very well is they time their movements into the box very well. And obviously what they've shown so far in this game today is their detail. When they do get those opportunities, they put things in the back of the net.
Redguard. To Balesaga, Christensen. Furthest player forward for Wales is Carrie Jones. Morgan trying to challenge Via here.
It's a tough job for whoever plays up top in this organisation tonight. Obviously, Carrie Jones has started the game and she's working extremely hard up there to try and keep play on one side of the pitch, but it's extremely difficult to do that as a sole forward.
Morgan picking up Ingle's pass. It's the vision that Sophie Ingle has. Saw that in the goal out in Sinsheim against Germany. Zvava. Roberts stepping forward. And Cole happy to play it back to a base. We looked at the stats, didn't we, at half-time, and possession stats, unsurprisingly very much in favour of the home side.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it reflects what we've seen in the game so far. We're seeing predominantly red shirts in possession, as we're seeing here. Obviously, they're controlling the ball, they're dominating the ball. But, you know, if they dominate in these areas, it's not too bad. It's when they dominate in further up the pitch, like they're hopefully not going to do right now.
Well, Woodham is tracking back here. But it's an excellent cross towards that back post. And somehow Zvava didn't put the ball in the back of the net. It was Torgerson who ripped apart both Evans and Woodham there.
Pace, I think it's actually come off Evans, hasn't it? And obviously the Troelsgaard is a bit of a dummy there. Movement of her body, free delivery again. Obviously missed calculation from Liv Clark there, but Wales get away with it. If I'm Josie Green on this far post, I'm not enjoying that ball coming towards me.
Almost crept in, didn't it? It was a Danish corner, more pressure for Clark and her defenders. Redsgaard, one of the goal scorers. Towards that near post. Is there room for Cole to shoot? Zvava. Good interception from Fishlock. Corner.
When we see Wales' defensive setup here, it's a bit of a semi-zonal setup, so we have three big defenders looking to attack those balls now.
Zvava's cross could have gone anywhere, and thankfully for Rhiannon Roberts, it didn't end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, one of those big defenders being Rhiannon Roberts, and this time she doesn't have to use her aerial ability. She actually needs to get that leg stuck out at the right time, and she does.
Well, luckily for Wales, it went over the bar, but it is out for another corner, and Zvava's deliveries have been on point. And it's a penalty area. Clark surrounded. This Danish crowd starting to lift the noise level as well. And the referee has actually stopped the corner kick. I think she's having a word with Hayley Ladd here. Bit of a pushing and shoving.
Well, we're all expecting this ball to be launched into that 6-yard area near post right now, aren't we? It's a good test for Liv Clark to try and dominate. It's going to be a tough one, though, because of the amount of bodies around her, ours and theirs.
Zvava with the corner. In swinger, Roberts with the important touch. Wales needed to get it away. Troelsgaard just couldn't bring it down. And the danger not away for Wales. Via. Troelsgaard, first time cross and relatively straightforward for Olivia Clark.
Just see this in-swinging delivery again. It's a good delivery into that central 6-yard zone. Rhiannon Roberts doing what she does very, very well, and that's winning first contact on aerial balls coming in. But again, there's deliveries coming in, isn't there? First phase, second phase.
We saw a lot of that in the first half, didn't we? Ultimately, that's what led to the first goal. The second, perhaps more down to an individual error from James, but just feel if Wales could, well, Denmark are about to make a change here, but if Wales could threaten that Danish goal or just get a goal somehow, it would change the complexion of this game completely. Josephine Hasba about to come on. Did start that game against Iceland last Friday. Carrie Jones putting pressure on the goalkeeper Christensen. Well, Wales have forced Denmark into a mistake. Here's James. Morgan wanted room to shoot, good tackle. You have to say that was a clean tackle from Abays, not rushed, and that has set up a Danish move. Vangsgaard just overhit it, but What a shame for Wales, because I think it was the first time that we'd seen that high press really create a chance.
Yeah, Phil Morgan just has to make a slightly quicker decision there to move it away from the defender. But what we see again is Denmark on that quick attack and transition, trying to exploit the space that's left there.
Denmark making a change, and it's an enforced one. Millie Guile has been limping somewhat, and you can see, I think, she's disappointed to come off. Hasbo on of Harvard Crimson. So the 21-year-old of Harvard University on. And the first change for Denmark. Clark's goal kick. I want to see more of that from Wales, from that incident that led to Woodham's chance. Really putting pressure on Denmark. Oh, it's a clearance from Woodham, which has gone straight to Hasbo. Sorry, clearance from Clark, I should say. Fishlock up towards Morgan. Luckily, no harm done for Olivia Clark. And Obeys holding it on its way to that far right-hand side, and via Rihanna Robertson really well to recover after that misplaced kick, but Denmark have a slight spring in their step now. Balesaga has got Torgerson to her right, up against Woodham. Here's Fishlock, always looking for that pass, that diagonal up the pitch, and that's a nice one from Ingle to Josie Green. Does have options, and it's opened up for her. Jones. Fishlock.
Just a final detail. It was just a couple of centimetres too far in front for Jess to actually get good first touch on it. Good opportunity to get into the box there.
It's better from Wales. Tell you what, we look at that Iceland game next month. Of course, Iceland's still yet to play Germany in this round of fixtures, but it does feel like a big game. Of course, there's goal difference to take into account if Wales do win because of head-to-head results. They have to win by about 2 goals, but if we can get something here, that would help immensely. Jones did well, wins the free kick.
She was under a lot of pressure then in the central area of the pitch and does well. Obviously, feels the physical contact, goes down. It's a free kick.
And an opportunity for some of Wales's more aerial specialists to get into that penalty area. And a few Welsh fans have made the trip. Brave the cold here in Denmark. Fishlock, quickly taken free kick. Found its way to Ingle. Woodham linking up with Jones. Here's Anhara James. For the first time in this game, all the outfield players in the Danish half here. Evans. Fishlock. Gemma Grainger will mind this. Just keeping the ball, plodding, waiting for that opportunity. Fortunately, giving away possession. Just those key moments, isn't it?
Finer details on our pass at times that lets us down. The decision is correct, the timing is correct. It's just the final detail. It's not necessarily going to the right side of the player to assist, obviously, the player receiving it.
The local school children making a feral racket inside the ground here in Viborg. All adds to really good international atmosphere, which I'm sure will be replicated in Cardiff and Swansea for the remaining Welsh games. Torgerson taking on Woodham. Woodham staying on her feet, did well. Cross does eventually go in over to back post, and Vangsgaard, who I think suspected that Zvava was going to go for it, but by the time it reached her, she couldn't get a clean contact.
Just as the play was building on the wide area, I was just looking in the box to see who was picking up who, and obviously we've tracked the run there very well, and Rhiannon Roberts has done enough to put off Vansgaard, because we've seen in previous games that she finishes from areas like that.
Scored the first of Denmark's 2 goals tonight, the 2 Danish goals. Josie Green of Leicester City, formerly of Tottenham, plays it back to Evans. Jones putting pressure on Christensen, and this is where Wales had a bit of fortune before by forcing Denmark into mistakes. James into Fishlock. That's better. That's what we want to see more of.
It is, but and it's happened to Jess Fishlock on a few occasions over the last 10 minutes. The detail of the pass, she's there, she wants it. And it's too far in front or it's too far behind, and you can see her head drop a little bit. It's frustrating because they're working so hard when they're pressing in the opposition half right now, and they're working as a team well to win it back, but they have to concentrate more on that detail of the pass to help each other.
Zvava has got space. There's acres of room to put it into the middle. Vangsgaard's header! Inches away from her second and Denmark's third.
Again, we see, you know, this highlights the Denmark female teams, and has done for the last 10, 15 years in how they play. They transition quickly, they get bodies in the box, and their deliveries are generally good.
Well, it even hit the bar, that header. Looped over Olivia Clark, and almost 3-0.
She just meets it as she's going up rather than coming down, doesn't she? And also takes the ball up with her.
Fishlock towards Jones, who's really been surrounded by defenders every time she gets the ball, and is giving as good as she's getting, but has given away a free kick to be taken by Trollsgaard. Well, we're an hour into this game. Inevitably, the discussion turns to whether Wales make changes. I know that's been a criticism of Gemma Granger, perhaps not making as many changes as some people feel that she should, but 2-0, the game is still at a stage for Wales where they can get back into it. All is not lost, so...
Yeah, definitely, and we've seen glimpses now in the second half where we've had possession in the opposition half. Like I mentioned earlier, it's just that final pass detail in and around the box to give our teammates a chance to get that strike off.
Ingle towards Fishlock. Trying to find Jones with her first touch. Torgerson. Not the best of back passes to Christensen, and well done, Carrie Jones. Well, the keeper was put under pressure by Torgerson initially. And Wales, on occasions, have forced this Denmark team into mistakes, but when they commit players forward, this is what can happen. Bredsgaard in towards Kull. It's opened up, and it's deflected, and it's just wide. Josephine Hasbo, the substitute, well, dropped the shoulder, and the deflection took it wide.
Yeah, last gasp defending, but we've done enough. Yeah, look, it is unfortunate the spaces that opened up in the central areas, but we've done enough. It actually looks like it hits a hand when you watch this replay. But Wales will take a corner.
Clearly, Hasbo having the same sort of conversation with the Portuguese referee. Was it a hand? But it is a corner. It's Svava again to take. He's put a few useful corners in, and that's another one towards Balenciaga. Via shot, blocked, and out for a Danish throw. Good commitment in the defending.
Yeah, we're putting bodies on the line when we need to. Ideally, we're not getting to that point that we're needing to do that. But the next bit is, well, if it does get there, we need to put bodies on the line and get closer to those shots happening, obviously.
Oh, James has given the ball away. And But it was always going to be difficult for Vangsgaard.
But there's good reaction here, you know, from the backline players to get their bodies on the line and to get the deflection there, and in the last live play as well. You know, we're having quick reactions from the centre-backs to try and nullify the threat if we do lose possession.
Trollsgaard trying to find Zvava, instead finds Josie Green. Another misplaced pass, and Denmark immediately get players forward. Trollsgaard is Zvava. Takes on Roberts. Zvava in towards Hasbo, and good save from Olivia Clark from Vangsgaard. That full stretch again, the Wales goalkeeper.
You're right, Simon, that was a great save from Liv Clark. Let's just look at this build on the left-hand side and the movement. There wasn't much movement centrally, and we see Vangsgaard having a free left foot hit again. But thankfully, Liv Clark is up to the shot and does enough to parry it away here.
Torgerson battling with Woodham, as she's done for most of this game. Been a real contest on that Danish right. Vangsgaard. There are players waiting in the middle, including Hasbo. Trollsgaard. Leaving it to Via. Wales really have to work hard here. We'll always look for positivity, but even if it remains 2-0, a defeat is still a defeat, obviously. It's results that do count, after all. We do feel that game against Iceland will be the watershed moment in this campaign.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, obviously, the change of shape tonight, and whether that is something that the Wales coaching staff are thinking of for the next game, which is Iceland.
Svava. Well, the players wanted a flag, and the referee has stopped the play. And just looking to the sideline here, the replay just didn't... I think that's onside, by the way, isn't it? But referee
free kick
has given a free kick, so it wasn't an offside decision. And here comes a change. Carrie Jones off, and Kaylee Green. Well, you talk about committed players, they don't come more committed than this centre forward.
The centre-back turned centre-forward. It was an absolute... She was a superstar, to be fair, for the years that I was in charge. You know, when I first went to her and said, do you fancy playing as a centre-forward? It was a case of, if it gets me on that pitch, I'll do whatever you need me to do.
I always remember that Russia goal. Chipped the keeper in Newport.
No, she was
you
a
running down the sidelines.
No, superstar.
Well, more pressing for Wales is this free kick. Bredsgaard may fancy this. Instead goes for that back post, far too close to Olivia Clark. Different sort of centre forward, as we said in the first half, Kaylee Green, to Carrie Jones.
Very different. But look, let's give some plaudits to Carrie Jones, very young player. She's come out and she's done a bit of a thankless job. When you play this shape and organisation and you're trying to press, pretty much mid-press, there's lots of chasing you do and you never get the ball. And she's done a really good shift for Wales tonight.
Ingle.
But as you say, Kaylee Green is a different threat. So if a red shirt picks it up in the back line now, they're going to have a slightly quicker press coming against them.
Hasbo into Svava. Ladd is isolated here, ball in towards Vangsgaard. Good fall to Bredsgaard, and away by Ingle. Hayley Ladd was in a really awkward position there, not knowing whether to stick or twist. She had two players to look after. And there have been gaps on this Danish left.
Yeah, so Wales' right side defensively have struggled a little bit at times tonight. There's been times where they've done really well and times where Denmark have just broken them down way too easily.
Obase. Kelly Green's trying to stick a foot in. Via. And sad news, as we came on air, Ronnie Rees, the former Wales international, we extend condolences to his family Ronnie has passed away at the age of 79, former Swansea City player. And was at Coventry, West Brom, Nottingham Forest as well. Olivia Clark to take this goal kick for Wales. Gave it an important stage. Just feel a goal either way would set the tempo now for the remaining 20 minutes or so. Of course, for Wales, it could really spring them into life, and I'm sure that was Gemma Granger's thought when bringing on Kayleigh Green.
There could be a couple more changes we may see soon, looking at the conversation going on the touchline there.
There's been a criticism of Gemma Granger. She has made changes, or perhaps been too late in making changes. Of course, it's easy to say when you're watching at home or watching in the commentary box as we do, but game at a critical stage here. Here's Trollsgaard up to Obeis. Via. Good pressure from Fia Morgan, and indeed from Ingle. Oh, just gives away the free kick.
Nearly. The press is nearly right. But obviously the last moment there, a little bit too physical. Obviously you could see what Denmark are trying to do. They're trying to switch the play from where the white shirts are to the free space on the far side.
Rikke Madsen about to come on for Denmark. Here's Vava. Free kick, and it may give Denmark the opportunity to make the change here. Ladd. Gemma Evans. Well, there we see the table at the bottom of your screen. Wales, bottom of Group A3. Denmark very much on their way to winning this group. Just beat Germany in a key game at the top of the group earlier in the campaign. Wales just have to avoid finishing last to avoid relegation. Again, there's room for Denmark. Had far too much room. There was an overhit pass from Trollsgaard.
And to be fair to Trollsgaard, she's been the playmaker tonight, doesn't she? We haven't seen too many of those misplaced passes. She's been very effective in the midfield for Denmark tonight.
Hugely experienced player. Scored 57 goals for a country, 183 appearances. And here comes the second change for the home team. Sophie Zvava. That burst of pace on the left-hand side was a last piece of action this evening. And Rikke Madsen of North Carolina coverage celebrates with backflips when she scores goals, so hopefully we won't see any of them tonight. But Zvava, a thorn in Wales' side for most of the night, I think it's fair to say. Really put in some decent crosses from that left wing.
They've been effective from the wide areas, haven't they? Delivery's been good.
Clearance away from Green towards Fishlock. Via. Kayleigh Green working hard. Put the pressure on Obeis. And it could work out for Kayleigh Green here. And again, Wales can take advantage of a Danish mistake. It's Ingle to Fishlock to get Wales back in this game. And that is what Jess Fishlock does. And it's 2-1. Well, now we have a contest.
Do have a contest, and I'm sorry if you heard me go on as Kayleigh Green went in to make the tackle, but that's what she does. She puts pressure on the opponent. Look, it's a bad first touch, isn't it, from the centre-back, but look at Kayleigh Green going after it to put pressure on her. And then obviously the next part is fantastic for Wales. Really good decision here from Sophie Ingle to hold it, drag it inside, take the defender inside, create the space for Jess Fishlock, and she doesn't miss those opportunities one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Good finish from Jess Fishlock.
And Jane Ludlow forgetting that she's in the commentary box and not on the sidelines for a moment. We love it. And it's 2-1. And you know what? It was Via who actually played her onside. There were a few Danish defenders, Jane, who glanced at the assistant referee expecting a flag. Fishlock was clearly onside. And a good finish too. Well, what can Wales do now? And How does that change Gemma Granger's approach now?
There did seem to be a little bit of movement on the touchline and potentially some changes still to be made, but whether that happens, we will see.
Fishlock. Well, suddenly, Denmark look a bit shaky here. But it has come against the run of play. I've got rose-tinted glasses on in the Welsh commentary box, but Fishlock had the opportunity and she put it away, as she does best.
The only stat that really counts is the scoreline, Simon. And right now, it's a 1-goal difference. We still have 20 minutes left of the game.
And that is the important thing, isn't it? Obase. Ingle does well. James, Fishlock looking for Ffion Morgan, who will have the better of Balenciaga if it was a foot race, but I think Balenciaga just had a bit of a head start there. But at 2-1, we have a different game now, don't we?
We do. It's a pity that pass wasn't a bit closer to Ffion Morgan, and to be fair, Ffion Morgan will run for fun. She'll keep going as long as she's on that pitch, and she'll work extremely hard for the team. Young player who came through the college system, a colleague of Cymoedd with us, and it's fabulous to see her progress now. Full-time professional and a senior starter for the team.
Proud Welsh speaker as well, Ffion Morgan. And Wales have a throw-in with the scoreline at 2-1, and yet these changes were delayed slightly after the celebrations of the goal. We wondered if we were going to see Welsh changes, but there is activity on the bench as we see the replay of the goal.
Go on, Kaylee Green, let's see this replay again. And then obviously you pass it to the one player you definitely want to receive in this position for us as well.
Yep, Jess Fishlock on target again. And Ella Powell has just come on for Wales.
Another graduate of the Coleg y Cymoedd Academy programme that was set up a few years back that have brought through some of these young national team players. And again, another one who's earned a full-time pro contract at Bristol and is doing very, very well. What we'll see from Ella Powell tonight is lots of pace and lots of aggressive tackling as well. That's what she's renowned for.
Yeah, she's on for Lily Woodham. Ellis Hughes has come on as well for Ffion Morgan. So 2 changes for Wales with a scoreline at 2-1. I do like to see you light up whenever
I
players...
love it when the youngsters get the opportunity, because look, if you're a head coach and you're putting young people on the pitch, they will make mistakes, and you have to acknowledge that it's their learning opportunity. But look, I'm definitely somebody who encourages it. Get out there, learn the game, and you know, 9 times out of 10 they'll do the right thing for us, and we'll see that.
Evans with the ball for Kaylee Green, and thumbs up from Kaylee Green for the idea. A little bit more confidence in this Welsh team now after that goal. And fresh legs can never be a bad thing at a late stage of a game as well. So Wales going for this to try and get back in it. Roberts' header. Roberts' second header. Brought down by Madsen. And Gemma Evans now switching the play over to Ella Powell. Instead it goes up top towards Kaylee Green.
Well, the last 10 minutes we're first to things, aren't we? We haven't necessarily seen it for the first 60-odd minutes. Last 10 minutes, we are seeing it a lot. We're first to the 50-50 passes.
Do you know, it's nice to see players like Elise Hughes as well get more than 5-6 minutes. I know is the spine of Gemma Granger's team, but
well, they're the future, aren't they? And to be fair to Elise Hughes, she's had a couple of years of some bad injuries, and it's great to see her back. The one thing we could always rely on from Elise Hughes is she learns a game plan inside out. She's a very intelligent player. And we had an opportunity to play her in different positions many years back, and she did a really good job. And obviously now a centre forward is her natural position, and where she probably does want to play game in, game out.
Yeah, this is her 21st cap, and still after her first senior goal for Wales. Roberts. It's Green putting feet in. Well, it's all very messy stuff, but Wales come out on top with Elise Hughes. Did really well to set up Kaylee Green. Ball into the middle to Fishlock. Wales are growing in confidence here. Ball into the middle from Powell. Comes back out to Powell. Up against Bredsgard. Just a bit more urgency here now.
We're getting on the edge of our seats now, Simon. Come on, keep the ball in this area of the pitch.
It does feel like a different game now. Goal kick won by Torgerson or Fishlock, but will be up for a grandstand finish here. What Wales don't want to do is finish this game as they did the others more recently, and be vulnerable and naive at the back, but it is 2-1.
Can't see that happening tonight, Simon. You know, we got our back five, we're pretty solid there. I think the trend of the last 10 minutes has been very different. We're actually getting hold of the ball and we're managing to create things from that.
And once again, we're talking about the contributions of Jess Fishlock. You run out of superlatives sometimes to talk about Jess. Still has that appetite and quality that's so important for Wales. Is Trollsgaard. Torgerson. Supported by Bredsgard. Hayley Ladd has gone across here. Throw in Denmark. Do you take risks as a manager at this stage when it's 2-1?
You're asking the wrong person, Simon. It's irrelevant what I would do right now, to be honest. I think, do you know what? We can't read minds.
No.
What do the coaching group want from this? They want to walk away with 2-1 and go, look, we competed tonight. Or do they think, actually, we can get a draw here? And the fact that they've made the changes, I think it's the latter.
It is a fine balance, isn't it? Because you don't take a defeat, but 2-1 is certainly a huge improvement on what we've seen in the last two games. Roberts under pressure here from Madsen. Olivia Clark getting distance on her clearance. High foot from Ingle, and I think she took out Green, and there's a head injury, so the referee has to stop. And unfortunately for Josie Green, I think it was off the boot of Ingle accidentally there, which is desperately unfortunate. It was actually the elbow of...
Just thinking how good it is we're being combative in and around the ball now, but obviously Josie Green's come off the worst there.
Yeah, and it was Ingle's flailing arm, and you could see the concern from Sophie Ingle immediately there.
Yeah, and she's holding her elbow, so it must have been quite a whack.
It always surprises people when you see the tough side of Sophie Ingle, because you've always seen that probably over the years. She's such an elegant player, such an important captain, as you know, a real class act, but she's got a bit of bite as well about her. And
she's a competitor. Look, she wouldn't be playing at the top level of the game if she wasn't. Obviously, she's got trophies under her belt now as well. She's playing for one of the best clubs in the world. So she does have that character very much so, but she obviously has the calmness as well to lead appropriately when she needs to, but also to dictate play for us when we're in possession. But can she do the dirty stuff? Yes, definitely.
Well, there's a bit of a stoppage here. Josie Green receiving treatment. We certainly hope she's okay. It was an unfortunate accident more than anything. In the meantime, this was the Fishlock goal, and it came from that high press and the chance for Jess.
Great first touch, sets herself up, and you don't expect her to miss those, and thankfully tonight she nails that one.
And how many times have we said that over the years? You're not seeing this on your screens at home, but I'm delighted to say that Josie Green is, well, there we are, you can see it now, she is back on her feet. I think there has to be the appropriate protocol just to check she's okay. I don't think Gemma Granger would want to risk her either. How do you think she's done since coming into the team tonight?
I think she had a really tough first half. That's how I'll put it. because a lot of the threat was coming down that wide area. But I think second half, we've solidified that area, and I think she's grown into the game.
And again, not a natural position for her as well.
No, you're right. She's a central midfielder, you know, week in, week out for a club, and always has been. She's played in the back line before for Wales as a centre-back predominantly, rather than a full-back.
Kaylee Green switching the play. She was looking for Elise Hughes. It's the last 7 minutes here in Viborg, and there's some anxious Danish faces here after that Fishlock goal. Kaylee Green to Powell. That's a free kick, clear free kick there, and well,
go on, Ella.
This is what you work on as.
Oh, I got to pick that one up, Simon. Come on, youngster, get on the pitch, and she makes somebody. That's confidence. That's confidence.
Did she call it? That's the main thing. And Harry James, what can Wales do from here? In towards Ingle, and it could just bounce up in front of Christensen awkwardly, but in the end the keeper did well. It was, I think, purposely left by Ingle there. Yeah, players don't like getting nutmegged, do they?
Ooh, especially when it's called. Chased more than one player doing that. I did get made quite a lot, to be fair, as a player. Didn't enjoy it one bit.
No. Here's Evans. Nice pass into Hughes. Fishlock has Bo with the important interception. Just that final bit again, but Wales had played a lot more like this, and what we've seen perhaps in the last 10 minutes for much of the first half, then perhaps the scoreline wouldn't be in Denmark's favour. There's still time, of course. James.
No, but we spent most of the first half talking about Wales need to defend wide areas better. You know, the balls were getting in around the box a heck of a lot and way too often. Second half, we haven't said that much. You know, we're looking at a very different game second half, especially the last 30 minutes.
Ladd stopping Madsen. Is Denmark prepared to make another change? Karen Holmgaard about to come on here. Sophie Bredgaard coming off, took her goal well,
yeah,
albeit after a Welsh mistake. It was still a really decent finish.
It was a cracker, wasn't it, to be fair to her. We're just seeing the replay here, you know, one-touch finish, curls it in, goalkeeper doesn't have much chance for that.
Yeah, found that corner well, and Holmgaard in her place. Green just got tackled from behind up towards Elise Hughes. Showed good strength there. Another option really for Gemma Granger as a forward, Elise Hughes, in that hold-up play, bringing other players into play.
Yeah, different type of player. She might not be as aggressive on the press as somebody like Kaylee Green, but in possession she gives you a different dimension.
Denmark could break quickly here. Madsen has the beating of Josie Green. Green did well to recover, and I think it was a little tug of the shirt.
Well, we got good numbers back quickly, to be fair. You know, 86th, 87th minute of the game. And I was looking at it thinking there's probably going to be a foul here to break this build-up. It was a bit of a tame one, but it was a free kick, to be fair.
It's never really a bad thing for Wales when you're trying to get players back. And actually, Green has gone down with a bit of cramp here, I think. Did take that blow to the face earlier, accidentally off Sophie Ingle. Could well be that Gemma Granger chooses to replace her in these final few minutes.
We don't expect to get elbowed by your captain, do you? To be fair, most games. So she might still be recovering from that a little bit.
Took a bit of a wallop, didn't she? And indeed, the change is being made. Charlie Escort coming on. Player you know well, Jane?
Yes, very well. And obviously a young player who came through the age group systems with us, came through Reading with me as well. So yes, very, very well. And lots of time for Charlie Escort. Really hard-working player. Talented youngster who's playing in week in, week out now in the Championship for Reading.
Yeah, confirmation of Escort coming onto the pitch. In these final 2 minutes, there will be a little bit of injury time, I'm sure, because of the stoppage for Josie Green's treatment more than anything. Do Wales go for broke? Do they go and risk it and try and get that 2-2 at the expense of maybe being vulnerable at the back? Evans with a header away. James. Fishlock. Back to Evans. Good interception from Vangsgaard. Torgerson. Into the middle. Looking for Hasbo. Finds Via. And the shot ricochets wide for a corner.
Well, they're two players we haven't spoke too much about in the last 20 minutes, to be fair.
Which is an encouraging thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because first half, they're the two players we kept talking about. You know, the balls in the wide areas and deliveries in, and Vangsgaard getting on the end of it. But they've been quiet this second half, and that's due to the hard work and the good organisation from Wales, and obviously Wales having a bit more possession as well.
It's a short corner.
2v1 in the wide area, tough one for Jess Fishlock here.
And it was an offside decision, so well, you very rarely see that, and that will frustrate the Danish bench. Pretty basic stuff, that, but it is a free kick to Wales. As we await that added time board, and can this boost Wales? 5 minutes. 5 minutes for Wales to try and get an equaliser, Jane Ludlow.
And they've got to go for it, haven't they? Because look, goal difference is not going to make one goal here or there is not going to make a difference to us. At the end of the day, we're going to have to beat Iceland, more than likely, if we want to stay in this league. So for me, the team need to go for it in the next 5 minutes.
Wales still have hopes of avoiding relegation. Just need to avoid finishing bottom. Evans protecting the ball there for a goal kick to be taken by Clark. Clark's kick. Vangsgaard to Via. Kaylee Green marching after her. Elise Hughes leading the charge as well, looking to put Christensen under pressure, and it was a poor kick away.
We're seeing red shirts making quite a few mistakes this second half of the game, and to be fair, I think that's due to the pressure the Wales are now putting them under. It's a very different game in comparison to the first 45 minutes.
Green just sliding in. Fairness to Holmgaard, she to evade that sliding tackle well. There we see a hearty bunch from Wales, singing their hearts out for the team, and how they will sing if Wales could somehow get an equaliser in these final few minutes. Escort's header, Ladd. One for Hughes to chase. Via's clearance, not the most convincing. And at times, it has been sloppy from Denmark.
The second half has been very sloppy. It's not what you expect from them. But again, I'm going to put that down to Wales doing a far better job defensively and getting in their faces and putting pressure on them.
That is what Green's doing here. Kaylee Green, that is. Header from Roberts. Escort. Out for a throw. Of course, for Denmark, if they can hold on to this result, I mean, it is ultimately getting the 3 points. 1-0 against Iceland, 2-1 against Wales. I mean, they will see that as job done, albeit not as convincing as many people would have thought.
No, but it's the point that will be the focus for them, isn't it?
Ultimately, it does come down to results, which is one part of the criticism towards Gemma Granger, but tonight has been, at times, encouraging. Here's Kaylee Green. Escort. James. Escort again. Kaylee Green in a wide position. Just didn't get elevation on that cross. But still there for Wales. Roberts. Interchanging with James. Green. Ingle. Out towards Fishlock. Ella Powell. James. Into Fishlock. All they need is a chance on goal. Ingle. Hughes. James. Fishlock.
Oh, that was a tired one.
I would have loved Sophie Ingle to have pulled her left foot back. There was a moment there when she was on the edge of the D and she had a good 3-4 metres away from a defender to just pull her left foot back. She can finish those.
Well, you fear that may well be that, but too little too late for Wales, maybe.
It's a much better finish, though, than the last game.
Absolutely, and I think that will be the narrative, surely. Of course, you can't please some, and of course, some Welsh fans will rightly expect results, and they haven't been forthcoming in this top group, but Wales have competed a lot more in this second half. Vangsgaard. He's got support of Madsen behind her and wins the throw. Well, Denmark will be in no hurry at all to take this throw in as they count down this clock. So fascinated to hear what Gemma Granger has to say about this. I think it's been a lot better. Still a defeat, but signs of improvement surely for Wales. It may not silence some critics, but Wales march on to play Iceland in a key game next. And they still have hopes of avoiding relegation in the Nations League. It's finished in Viborg. It's finished Denmark 2, Wales 1.
Well, Wales were 2-0 down after 45 minutes, and you couldn't be blamed for thinking how many more for the dominant Danes. But the only goal in that second half for Wales, and Jess Fishlock delighted, as were the fans, with her 38th international goal. And that win for the Danes, well, it takes them further ahead at the top of this group. Iceland take on Germany tonight, kick-off at 7. Wales are still without a win down the bottom there, but they will be targeting their next game at home against Iceland to avoid relegation. Well, I wish you could have seen us here in the studio a few seconds ago. The girls just applauded because I think you were pretty impressed by that second half performance from Wales, Nia.
Massively. They had so much to build on in that first half. As we said, they looked so much more solid defensively with the 5 there. It just meant that our key defenders, like Hayley Ladd, Gemma Evans, could step out, be aggressive, close people down without leaving gaping spaces. What I loved was then that they grew in confidence with the ball in the second half. Details, as Jane Ludlow said in commentary, were much, much better. The confidence to play 1-2 touch passes in and around the box. The impact Gemma Granger made from the bench was so, so exciting. We were like cheering as if they'd scored a goal.
Because that's been an issue in the past. We've sat here before and criticised it.
Absolutely, and actually, I think even though they've lost the game tonight, there's been so many more positives just purely from the exposure that we've been managed to have from the younger players.
I think the one thing that I'm most impressed with, they would have been really suffering Friday night. They found a way to pick themselves up, go again, and to do that in such a short space of time, you know, that's testament to the characters we have in the squad to be able to do that, and to put in a second half performance like that, that's, you know, something that's going to really help them moving forward.
And how much credit does Gemma Granger deserve for looking at the system, looking at the players, And we'll get onto the substitutions later, but for changing that system.
Yeah, she really does. It takes courage, especially in a double header that's within the same camp. They will have been working for days before that Germany game with a back four, working on the systems, working at how they're going to nullify the opponent's threats, but also exploit them. And then overnight against Germany, it might have been pre-planned, who knows? Or she might have read some things in the press, who knows? But actually, the courage to actually rewrite the game plan, go back to the drawing board, do something new, and for the players to actually implement it at such short notice on the back of a really tough game Friday, like big credit.
We did see a couple of mistakes. We'll get onto those in a few moments. But that second half performance, I'm just wondering, is that the complete performance from Wales, the attack and the defence that we want to see going forward?
Look, there's still things that Gemma Granger will look to build upon, but certain basics of the game we did a lot better. You know, we didn't talk much about the Denmark putting balls in from wide areas, so we dealt with that threat a lot better. Centrally, we're so much more compact, and I think as the game grew, a lot more confident, and then we were able to win the ball back and start the attack higher at the pitch because we were pressing higher, which gave us a chance then to actually put the pressure on Denmark.
Ultimately, it is another defeat. It's the fifth defeat in the row for Wales. But does that matter? Is it about performance, progress? And do people have to realise that going forward, it's not just the results that count when you're playing in the top tier against the top teams?
Yes, they do. If this was a qualifying game, of course it matters, because points in that process really matter. This is a free hit at a Nations League where we're in with the big boys because we've earned it, but actually they just want to soak up as much exposure and as much experience from these games as they can. And actually 2-1 away from home on the back of the last two matches, actually it's, for their confidence levels, as good as a win for me. OK, well, look, we're going to hear from the manager. Simon said he was excited to hear what Gemma Granger had to say. We can't wait either. She's with Alex.
Gemma, how do you reflect on that one? Another defeat, but an encouraging performance and a lot of positives to take away.
Yeah, we've finished a stronger team in the second half, and one of the things we want to do in these games is keep improving as a team. We know what our longer term goal is, and with performances like that tonight, we will get there. It's about reflecting on each game. We wanted to be better in the second game against every opposition in this group, and we've just started to do that with Denmark. Obviously we've lost, we don't want to lose, but like I said, we finished a stronger team.
Yeah, how pleased are you especially with that second half performance? You know, the team fought back and put Denmark under some real pressure.
Yeah, I think it shows our resilience. You know, the difference in Denmark and us is a big gap. The difference between the seed 1 and 2 seed teams is a big gap, but it's a gap that we are determined to close, and that'll take time. It'll take small improvements, but we want to keep focused on that longer term goal because we will qualify for a major tournament, so we want to continue to take those steps. So the realism for me around what type of team Denmark are and how we've just finished the game as we have are really positive, because at 2-0 at half time, this team could have come out and could have folded and conceded more goals. We haven't done that. The resilience is high, and everyone in this team is real focused on that long-term goal.
Yeah, you've said yourself, you know, you want to be judged on the performances, not the results. But we have to be realistic. 4 back-to-back defeats in this competition is tough for any team to take. How difficult is it to keep morale up in this team and to stay focused on that plan?
Yeah, I think you've just seen the second half morale, so there's no question in our minds. We are focused on what we're here to do. The Nations League is a step for us, and it's part of our process. We know where we are, we know where we want to be. It's the first time for us playing in Ligue A as a nation. You know, we've earned the right to be here. We want to be here. We're the lowest ranked team in Ligue A. We have to keep perspective, and we've got such a huge perspective because we know what the plan is for this team. We don't want to play in Ligue B, and we stood here going, you've won 4 games in a row in Ligue B. We want to be in Ligue A. We want to qualify for a Euros. It's as simple as that.
And how do you regroup now ahead of that must-win game against Iceland in December?
Yeah, we focus, you know, we'll reflect on this game and make sure that everyone goes away and works to be ready for that game in Cardiff.
Gemma, Hardlines tonight, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Diolch.
She's got a great poker face, hasn't she, Gemma Granger? But I'm sure there is relief there because they needed the performance. What I'm reading from that is trust the process. They have an end thing that they want to achieve, getting to that major tournament. No other Welsh team for the women has done that. Just take us on the journey with us and just, as I said, trust that process.
Yeah, and we have to put everything into perspective. I think I agree with a lot that Gemma says there. We're in League A of the Nations League, so we have to you know, give credit to the people we're playing. Also, the fact that we play 2 away fixtures against the top-seeded teams, this is an experience which will help us moving forward. The ultimate goal is to qualify for a major tournament. This is the opportunity to learn. We've played against some really tough teams, and we've shown another side of us this evening, playing with that 5, showing that we're more adaptable. So there's lots of positives moving forward, and I totally agree, Gemma Granger should be judged after that qualifying campaign, not against these top nations.
Let's look then at the lessons from this game, because defensively, despite having that extra player in the back, there were mistakes, Linnea.
Yeah, they were, but for me, these are more individual errors that are probably quick fixes. You give that to Sophie Ingle 9 times out of 10, and she can lace that with excellent technique. So a couple of scuffed clearances to begin with, a little bit more aggression, a little bit more speed from Lily Woodham. She gets out to this cross and stops it. And again, 9 times out of 10, I back Gemma Evans to come out here. She's unmarked to come and claim that ball. That was a one-off. We didn't really see that for the rest of the game, which is what was a huge positive for me. If you compare it to the Germany match only a few days ago, Wales conceded 35 shots and 20 corners. Denmark beat Germany 2-0. They're sitting pretty at the top of the group. We only conceded 12 shots tonight and 7 corners. So even in the space of 4 days, I know the scoreboard still says that we lost the game, but huge, huge strides.
And in that second half, they were very quiet, weren't they, the Danes? We didn't see much from them.
Yeah, it's because we were pressing higher at the pitch. We were actually, the tables had turned. We were pressing them and playing them at their own game. And no matter how good you are, when you're under that aggression and the opposition have that desire to win the ball, it pushes you back, it puts you under pressure, it makes you make decisions. So I think credit to Wales having that bravery and courage to actually push it higher at the pitch, because we know Denmark are the queens of transition. So when you do that, you risk losing, you know, being out of shape. But I think Wales dealt with that really well.
And people probably wonder, oh, why don't they press from the start? One, because if you go too soon, you leave your player exposed. If you go too late, they can get a touch on the ball, and quality players can really, really hurt you. The detail in their press in the second half was much better. The distance they were away from the player they were closing down was better. You saw on the goal that Wales scored, actually the body angle in which Ffion Morgan sent her back inside. Kaylee Green timed her press really well. And then there's bodies, like Katie said, higher up the pitch. So there's huge, huge detail on top of just that courage and bravery.
We're going to get more reaction from Captain Fantastic Sophie Ingle, who's with Alex.
Sophie, given how many injuries there are in this team at the moment, how proud are you of that performance tonight?
Yeah, it was a great second half, I think. Obviously, first half we were getting used to the new shape, and obviously we played this team not long ago and they dominated the game, but tonight I don't think they did, especially second half, so I'm really proud of the girls for that.
Yeah, what was said at half-time? Because there was a real energy about the team in that second half.
Yeah, I think we could just be more positive. When we got the ball, we kept going back first half, so it creates pressure on ourselves, and I don't think we need to do that against good teams. But then when they have the ball, I think we could have stepped a bit higher. In second half, we were able to do that, nick a few balls, and that's where the goal came from.
And what do you take away now from these 2 games in this camp?
Obviously, scoring against top opposition is a huge thing for us, because we don't score that many goals against the big teams, and that's a real positive for us now. Obviously, defending, especially second half, we limited their chances, but we have to, minimise mistakes. And in the first half, obviously conceding 2 goals against a very good team, you're always going to be chasing the game then.
And what do you work on now? How do you keep yourselves motivated for that crucial game against Iceland in December?
Well, it's not long away, is it? So we'll just go back to clubs now, have a few games, and come back rearing to go for the last 2.
Sophie, unlucky tonight. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Sophie Ingle there, or Sassy Sophie, as Jane Ludlow called her the other day. You're laughing. Why? Because she seems, not quiet, but she seems very composed when we hear from her. But is she quite the character then?
Well, she's from Barry, and I love that about her. No, because she's so composed and so calm. And we call her the Rolls Royce in the centre of midfield because she's such a brilliant technician. She really, really is. But she does have that bite and she does have that aggressive side. And if you're going to play centre midfield at international level, you've got to have it. So she has got a side to her, but she uses it in a really, really controlled and positive way for the team.
Anybody from Barry listening, sorry if
it's
you're
a great
offended.
thing.
Oh,
It's
my favourite. There we are.
Yeah.
She mentioned there that it can take time to adjust to a new formation. Is that a reasonable, not excuse, I don't want to say that for the goals, we look at the second goal now, but is that a fair point?
Yeah, absolutely, because Gemma has been very set on her formation. She's been very set on her identity and how she wants the team to play. So adapting to a new formation, in such a short space of time, you have to give credit to the players to be able to do that. But you know, these are professional players. You expect them to be able to do that. Hayley Lads plays as a centre midfielder for her club. She's playing as centre-back for country because she has the ability to do both those things. So, yeah, credit to the team for being able to adapt. And I think it's worked really well, and it'll help this team moving forward when we play against higher-ranked teams in qualifying.
And I think that's key. I think you can't play the same at home to Kazakhstan as you can when you play Germany away. And that's the style that I would prefer to see Wales go forward with, is actually, can we keep distances tight? Can we stay compact as a unit? Get under the skin of the opposition. When we get a chance to press, let's go. But actually then, let's grow into the game as it goes along, instead of leaving ourselves wide open from the first whistle and then having to chase it.
There was a moment in the second half when, well, the Danes didn't complain, but Nia, you were calling for a penalty because is this a handball? Should they feel aggrieved, the Danes?
I think Olivia Clark should be worried for a position. I thought this was an amazing hand save from Rhiannon Roberts on the recovery tackle. Credit to them. You know, she's great bit of footwork, great bit of skill to shift it onto her right, and it's last-ditch slide tackles from Rhiannon Roberts coming in, but you quite clearly see here on the replay, and the rule is now if it's out away from the natural line of your body and it's making you a little bit bigger and it's interfered with possibly a goal-scoring opportunity, I'd be throwing my trick-or-treat sweets out of the
However, it wasn't picked up in commentary either, was it? And the reaction of players, they didn't really react either, so...
And they could have gone at that point, I guess, had the penalty been given, 3-0 down. Very different game, very different result, and more pressure it could have been on the Wales team.
Yeah, and I mean, we're due a little bit of luck, aren't we? So I know if it was the other way, I'd have been absolutely screaming for it. But as you say, you go off body language of players, and none of the Danes complained either.
But do Wales need to be careful? Because there was a mistake in the box, and there was a similar mistake that was given, penalty last week, Friday night, for Sophie Ingle. Do they need to just maybe calm the nerves a little bit, look at their temperament, because you don't want to be making stupid mistakes in that position?
Yeah, they're really costly, aren't they? If you know, that lack of discipline, erratic defending sometimes. There was a penalty against Denmark at home, so sometimes it's a mistake that leads up to that, and it's just decision-making in the heat of the moment. But that's where, you know, you need your experience around you just to calm things down. And things do happen, emotions are high, but you can't be giving away silly penalties or free kicks because top teams, they'll punish you.
And it's the pressure built. You know, they're not just in those positions by luck, Denmark. It's because they're constantly knocking on the door. They were building in combinations. They were catching us on transition a little bit in the second half at times. It was the same in the previous matches. So the longer you ride that luck, the more that they're going to maybe have a penalty appeal, or maybe you're going to scuff a clearance. Whereas in the last 30 minutes for Wales, they were much higher up the pitch, and there were rare occasions where they could make those errors.
Let's go back to Denmark, shall we, and hear from Carrie Jones.
Carrie, a disappointing result tonight, but a positive performance from this Welsh side.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an improvement from last time we played them. We've got to remember that this is a higher ranked nation, and they did very well in the World Cup. Yeah, but obviously we're disappointed with the performance, but you know, it's an improvement from last time.
And for you personally, how pleased are you with your performance on the pitch tonight?
I mean, I think it's a bit different, like the role that I've been asked to play. So I've just got to kind of just take the positives out of my performance and kind of look at where I can improve, and there's so many areas where I can improve. Obviously playing in the 9 against, you know, a back 3, when we set up quite differently, I think it was quite difficult. But, you know, I'll look back at it and I'll see what I can do better.
And these last 2 matches, what has this group in particular learned from playing against this higher ranked opposition?
I think, you know, definitely from watching back the games, we've just got to be so much more defensively solid. You know, we've conceded 10 goals in the past 2 games. Obviously, that's 2 more tonight. So it is an improvement tonight, but also we just have to be a lot more defensively solid, yeah.
And what do you look to work on now, between now and that all-important game against Iceland in December?
Yeah, I think, you know, Gemma's someone that always likes to focus on the positives, which is a good thing. So, you know, we'll review the game individually and then we'll come together as a team and review it. You know, we'll look at areas where we can improve, but we'll also focus on the positives to bring into the next game.
Carrie, unlucky tonight. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, the same messages coming out from the Welsh camp. What did you make of Carrie's performance tonight?
Well, first of all, a very mature head on young shoulders there from Carrie Jones. It was a difficult one for her tonight because when you're sitting with, you know, 2 low blocks, she's there to try and hound and make something of something. So yeah, it's a difficult role for her, but she will always play with it, you know, her heart on her sleeve and give everything for this team.
And another player who does that, Jess Fishlock, her 38th international goal. We were talking about her before the match. When will she hang up those international boots? We were shouting at Sophie Ingle here, weren't you? Were shouting, Nia.
It shows what we knew. I know. It just opened up, and because we know how well Ingle can strike a ball, we were going, shoot, what are you doing? But actually, she plays for Chelsea for a reason. She's a multiple Super League winner for a reason. She's Welsh captain for a reason. The awareness here to fake the shot and spot the little run from the former captain, Jess Fishlock, and as commentary said, she's not going to miss from there. That's her heavily involved in the last 3 goals that Wales have scored against top quality opposition. And again, the composure that we're seeing from Wales now in the final third, the decision making, it's so easy when you're in the final third and you're in the box against top teams to just rush what you're doing because you think, oh my gosh, this might be the only opportunity that we get in the whole game, and it becomes hasty. But actually the composure that they showed, a great finish, keep it low, strong, powerful strike, and 38 goals, she's knocking on the door. Helen Ward will be nervous at home, I reckon. She's got the record at 44, so... She will be nervous. Her reaction at the end just showed maybe the pressure that they've been under over the past 72 hours.
Yeah, it's really tough. But they've brought on this expectation by the standards they've set. I think if people weren't talking and weren't saying, you know, we want more, then they wouldn't be happy either, because we want to be talking about it. We want people to have this emotion and this connection to the team. We want the media involved. This is the things that we were screaming about when we were playing. So noise sometimes is good. They've been under a lot of pressure. They've, you know, they've stopped that noise a little bit this evening. Yeah. So...
And they actually came close to an equaliser as well. This would have really stopped the noise.
Yeah, they did. And actually, just the reaction of the Danish players at the final whistle, they were relieved. They were fully relieved because their backs were against the wall. And actually, like, we started to play like Denmark a little bit here. It was tiki-taka football. I don't know what tiki-taka is in Welsh, but maybe just with one C. But it's almost like they were trying to walk it into the net and you're just screaming. If Jess Fishlock on another day connects with that volley, it opened up for Sophie Ingle, who could have struck it as well. But fantastic to see them end the game as the better team, like Granger said.
And a word about Josie Green as well, who came in and we weren't quite sure where she was going to slot in.
Yeah, such a versatile player. We've seen her at centre-back, centre-mid, wing-back, so credit to her, fantastic performance. It's really difficult taking on those different roles, and she didn't play at any time against Germany, so to come in and put in a performance that she did, you know, credit to her.
Is this the aggression that we've missed in recent games?
Yeah, and I think just, you know, even committing a foul when you need to commit a foul to avoid actually a team getting in is the dirty stuff that you have to do when you go away from home against the top sides. But as I say, Josie Green tonight, Ella Powell, Ffion Morgan coming on, Elise Hughes. It was really exciting to see them come on and do a job. And actually, maybe they've put their hand up for future games.
And Olivia Clark as well, once again in goal.
Yeah, and you know, we're thinking about the goal now, about qualifying, but we have to think about the next generation and this experience that they're having now. These players are the future. They're still so young, so this will be invaluable moving forward for this group.
How important are the next 2 games, especially that Iceland game?
Yeah, it's really important, and it'll be interesting to see if the conversation coming out of camp actually shifts towards an outcome-focused approach. So far, they've been very process-focused, focusing on performance, but actually, there might be a little bit of pressure on them now at home, considering the performance that they put in away from home against Iceland. Narrowly lost 1-0, really sloppy goal to concede from a corner, but Wales with a better team. It'll be interesting to see if the conversation and the narrative shifts now to actually, we need to win that game. Because it shouldn't.
Yeah, and to finish third would be a real achievement when they are 4th seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Iceland game now, they'll really want to go after it. We dominated possession away from home. We weren't clinical enough in the box. I'm back in Wales to go and get a result at home.
Do they go with the back 4 then, do you reckon? Because we dominated last time, do they go with the 4 or do they go with the 5 that they've just seen success with?
That is what we're going to have to wait and see. What a question to leave us hanging on. Thank you very much, both. We will be back, match of the day, highlights as Rob Page's side, they take on Armenia, a crucial game for them as they try and head for the Euros. And another big game coming up for Wales now as they face Iceland. Can they get their first win in this Nations League? Thank you both for your company. Thank you at home too. We're off trick-or-treating. Girls, get your brooms. We're off. We'll see you very soon. Nostar, good night.
This will be another huge test for Gemma Granger's Wales. And it's a header, and it's a goal, and it's Vangsgaard. Brett Guards, 2-0. Fishlock to get Wales back in this game. Still a defeat, but signs of improvement, and they still have hopes of avoiding relegation in the Nations League.